Gather round me, children, I'll tell you the news. Don't worry about the names or dates, you already know it's true. Your doctor hates your baby, the prime minister's a ghost, and all them folks are sailing here 'cause they're in love with boats. Superfoods can save us from all our evil sin. JFK and Elvis own a bar in Wisconsin. Vaccinations were created by the CIA to steal votes from Bernie Sanders and turn your babies gay. So click the link you think you like and get tooled for a fight against those lefty fascist communists who are leaning too far right.
Hi and welcome to Not Another Fake Newscast. I'm Paul.
And I am Boris Johnson's sense of remorse. Oh no, that doesn't exist. I'm Jerry, just kidding. He's
going to be the political leader of the UK for the Tories, probably within about the next 3 weeks.
Well, potentially there's going to be a leadership battle.
48 I believe signatures have been whacked on a bit of paper and given to your man in charge.
48 letters to the 1922 group or whatever the fuck they're called.
Some combination of fucking archaic process. But yeah, indeed, that's actually what's happened. They all met up with Jacob Rees-Mogg's party group, what they called
ERG.
Aye, the Energy Raptor group. No,
European Research Group.
Aye, you know, equally rapey gangsters.
So yeah, we could be seeing Boris Johnson pushing for the leadership of the Tory party, but that's not what we're here to talk to you about tonight.
Why do they call him Bojo and not BJ?
I don't know. I'm guessing he pushed Bojo himself.
He didn't want a BJ.
Well, apparently he wants lots of BJs. Apparently he has 2 twin children that certainly for
Wait, 2 twin children?
No, well,
he's got twins.
He's got 2 sets of twins. He's got twins, but illegitimate twins who he refuses to acknowledge their existence, and the mother made a habit of bringing him to press conferences and just staring at him for a number of years. I don't know if that still occurs, but those are the rumours anyway. Libel drink potentially, but that's certainly a story that's oft repeated in journalistic circles.
I think we're probably going to see a snap election because shit's going to get
real. You keep
real.
saying this, but I don't see that happening.
I know, but you probably didn't see Boris Johnson throw the towel in.
Well,
did you?
As soon as this was called on Friday, I said, "Fucking, Boris is going to fucking resign and he's going to push for the leadership."
But things have changed now. I mean, so because of what's happened, I think there's even more likely chance of a snap election. I mean, Scottish Labour called for one today.
Okay, that's fine. But the problem is, for me, in order to have a snap election, you need an opposition that's pushing for it. And I don't believe that Jeremy Corbyn has any appetite right now for a general election.
I genuinely don't think Jeremy Corbyn can push his way out of bed. Like, he is.
They're not an effective opposition right now.
He is, without a doubt, one of the most inept oppositions that has existed in the UK for the last fucking 30 years.
Disappointing, because I've got quite a lot of time for a lot of Jez's policies, but I don't think he's doing his job correctly right now.
I think as a person, I probably see eye to eye with a lot of things he believes in.
Yeah, I'd go for that.
Because I'm also a Russian spy, a member of the IRA.
Oh, right, okay, cool. So, and into allotments.
Yeah, heavy into it, and I like tweed coats, and I really enjoy sitting in the aisles of Virgin trains.
So, yeah, I mean, you've got like Jezza Bingo right there. You should try and get him on Tinder.
To be honest, I'd be a fucking much better version.
Jeremy always swipes left. Hey.
never swipes right. Never swipes right. I'd probably be a better leader of the Labour Party, to be honest.
Well, might be able to be arranged.
I don't even know if that was like a threat or not. I know a guy. So we're probably not going to talk about the madness of today or the last couple of days.
But we will be recording a roundup episode before the end of July. So I'm sure that all of this stuff will feature very, very heavily.
Yeah, if things get really mad, we'll just record another episode between now and then if it really becomes enough of an episode. Do you know what I mean? Like, much the same as we done for the general election policy look at and stuff. We can do something similar to that if it keeps on picking up. But at the present moment, we know it's kind of happening, but it's still essentially kind of conjecture. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we know that that's what people are suggesting, but we don't have any actual solid proof. So instead of talking about that, let's talk about our sponsor, Holzkern. Their watches, they're fucking quality.
Holzkern, the best thing to come out of Austria since Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Nice.
I am a very big fan of my Holzkern watch. It is cool as fuck looking.
We were at the party at the weekend and we were both wearing Holzkern watches, like without having to like let's wear our watches to show people.
I genuinely just wear it on. I took it offshore, wore it every day. I was offshore and stuff like that. Yeah, big fan, like them a lot. And
you were a bit of Trump there. Big fan, huge fan.
Yeah.
Biggest,
huge,
best watches, best watches. We've got the best watches, the biggest watches, the best time.
So, yeah, I would recommend you have a look at them. The website's www.holzkern, and that's HOLZKERN.com/EN for the English version. If you're German or Swahili or something else, then I don't know what you need to go to. That
the thing is, if you're German, you can just go to the .com because I believe it's a German.
Oh yeah, it'll be a German.
So that one's, I say, well, Austrian, but it's a take on German. I believe.
Is Austrian and German two separate languages?
I believe so.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, how
did the Anschluss work then?
I believe that they're different languages, so I'm just ignoring you. Right? So, I think it's like a kind of thing like the way that, like, Flemish and French and Dutch are all kind of the same but slightly different, you know what I mean? Like, not like as in Dutch and Flemish and French, you know what I mean? I've got a lot of stuff in common, but they're still different languages. So I believe like Austrian's like quite German but has its own dialect, I believe. I mean, like, oddly enough, teaching Austrian in school doesn't come up that often. Do you know what I mean? I don't know anyone who actually talks Austrian, but I know that it's a kind of separate language. Are you going to check?
I'm just curious because I don't know. I kind of always assumed that maybe they just spoke German.
Because see, I think because you've got Swiss French, don't you? Which is like a slightly different dialect from French.
Yeah, probably. Languages of Austria. Official language, German, Austrian German.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, Austrian German. So I think it's like Swiss French and stuff like that.
Or Brazilian Portuguese.
Where it's like it's the same language, but not really. Like there's dialect differences, and you know they use different terms.
Like Geordies.
Yeah.
They say like, "Why aye, man?"
It's like Austria Shore.
I'm ganging. I'm ganging for bait and stuff like that. Yeah. I work with Geordies.
I mean, it must be fucking absolutely incomprehensible the gibberish that's going on.
So some of them are a bit mental. Actually, like I actually had a couple of guys from like down Great Yarmouth way, so who were English, were working with one of my colleagues who was a Geordie, and they came up and said to me, "We can't understand the fucking word he's saying. What the fuck is his accent's ridiculous." I was like, "I'll translate for you."
It's worry when we become the translator.
I
so this is a good advert. So anyway, Holzkern watches. You want to go in there?
Get involved. And if you use the code NAFNC 15, then you'll get 15% discount. Also, we are Not Another Fake Newscast, and you will find us at www.notanotherfakenewscast.com. We have articles on there. We have all of our episodes. We have links to the source material from every episode. And
cheeky articles.
Cheeky articles.
Cheeky articles.
Did I say that?
No, but I think you should have.
Yeah, cheeky articles.
Yeah, that's all right.
We have other things. Like we have links to our Discord chat where you can come and chat with us. We have links to our Patreon where you can choose to donate to us to help us do things like buy amazing new recording equipment like our new Rode microphones and mic stands and chalk mounts and stuff that we bought because of you beautiful people.
I know you're listening to this and you're not a Patreon yet and you think to yourself, fuck, they sound sexy and rounded and chocolatey. I wonder how that happened.
It's because we've fattened ourselves up with chocolate and then rubbed it on ourselves also.
There's that, but also we
in a kind of confectionery blackface manner.
Yeah, it was offended both confectioners and people who aren't white. Especially see confectioners that aren't white.
They were really pissed off. So I can only apologise for our racial insensitivity. I promise it won't happen again.
But because of the Patreons, we got new mics, and that's why you probably can hear us a bit better, and why it doesn't sound quite like we're in a shed 3 weeks away.
So yeah, hopefully it does make a difference. But we massively want to thank anybody who has ever contributed to our Patreon, because you have enabled us to upgrade our equipment, and it means a hell of a lot to us. We just want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. Yeah,
it means the world to us. It really, really does. And if you want to get involved and you don't know where to go, and you've not heard our links, and you've not looked at the bits that are underneath, contact us. You can get us on Facebook at PGMcast. You can get us on Twitter at PGMcast. You can send us an email if you really want to send us an email to info@notanotherfakenewscast.com. You can go on our website and you can send us a message that people seem to do, because we get like random Squarespace messages. And it's like, what the fuck is this? And then I have to go in and read it. Like, it does.
We got one this month from a dude called AD, who was interested in talking to us about racial profiling and stopping searches, and we actually published.
He had a couple of ideas how to do it better.
So
that's not what happened.
No, that's not what happened. Yeah. He was, he raised some genuine questions about it. So we have published an article on the website, which was basically a reply to AD, and you can have a read of that if you're interested in the sort of research that we looked at from the Scottish government and things that have worked up here, which have basically taken the knife crime from, we were the most violent country in Europe and one of the most violent countries in the world, and we have managed to take our knife crime and violent crime down significantly to the extent that of the 35 children and teenagers that were killed by knives in the UK last year, not a single one of them was in Scotland.
Fuck yes. And also, if you want to see something that's quality, jump onto our Facebook at PHMcast, look for that article being posted, and read through the comments. It's fucking great. Like, it's great fun. People won't read an article, but will comment and argue about the contents of an article. Like, we've had a lot of good interaction there as well.
We have, yeah.
But there's also some madness in there.
Also, just people come on and go and say, yeah, but it's black and black violence, so fuck them. Or, which is obviously fucking shitty, so fuck you guys.
Or people saying, you assholes are always just talking about London. We are not.
We're definitely not.
That's definitely not what we do.
I've never even been to fucking London other than airports, ever in my life.
Have you not?
No.
I have.
I'm sure it's lovely. Like, I will go there at some point.
Honestly, personally, like, I mean, like, without being like, I'm not going to say it's shite or anything, but like, we obviously have friends who live in London who love it.
Yeah.
I've only been there for work and for work-related things, you know what I mean, out with people from work and, you know, days after work and all that type of stuff. I find it like a big, busy city.
What? No way.
And
London.
And as such, things happen like, I'm on the subway listening to music. It may surprise our listeners, but I like, you know, like a wee smile and dance. You know, I'm listening to some, say, I've got disco on, right? Uh-huh. It's 5:30 on a Tuesday.
You got a bit of Shaka Khan.
Well, see, I was thinking, so I've got like Boney M, like, so I'm giving it, you know, so like, Rah Rah Rasputin's going on in my ear. I'm dancing. I know you hate the song, but I'm dancing. I'm on the tube. I'm looking at everyone. They think I'm insane. They're all looking at the ground. They don't want to make eye contact because they think I'm a lunatic. These people are broken.
They are correct.
No, these people are broken. They need to smile and enjoy life. They need to dance to Boney M.
Yeah, I think.
I kind of brought a lot out of myself in that scenario. Like, I'm not under any illusion. But yeah, so like, I find it, like I said, I find it like a weird kind of big, busy city. It's not like the more pleasant cities in the UK, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh, that type of stuff, where there's like,
two of the three of those were in Scotland, Paul.
I'm just back from Birmingham and it's no great.
Like, but Paul Robb lives there.
Right, but...
And Gav lives near there, I think, as well.
Two people does not a city make, Jerry.
That's what they say.
That's what they call me, Paul Shakespeare. That, and because I've got a spear that's shaking people when they get too close.
And people here have no imagination when it comes to nicknames.
So do you know what we should do? We should start telling this.
We should start telling people what the episode's actually about.
That's what we should do.
Okay, good idea.
So the episode is about sustainability. So like, yeah, it's kind of about waste, sustainability. There's a lot of lies that kind of cover it. You will see a lot of stuff spouted if you ever find yourself arguing with a vegan online, or talking to someone who has seen recycling lorries all go to the same place, or talking, you know what I mean, like there's many a conspiracy, and there's a lot of hate and venom that surrounds recycling and everything about it. Some people think it's a lie. Global warming. Trump helped us by telling everyone that global warming wasn't a real thing. Do you know what I mean? So
and by taking America, the US, out of the Paris Accord. I mean, climate change is one of the very, very few things that modern science essentially agrees on, like 99.9%. It's as close to a consensus as you're going to get.
In Scotland, for the last 5 weeks, it's been sunny as fuck, right?
It's been amazing for us. However, if I lived in the Maldives, I'd be concerned. I'd be fucking delighted.
I was going to say, cry river, dick face.
Apart from the fact that, I think the Maldives is quite poverty stricken, and it's just.
You mean the Seychelles? If you lived in the Seychelles, you'd be overjoyed.
Yeah, but anywhere that's low next to sea level is not going to have a good time when the polar ice caps melt.
Netherlands,
and essentially, we'll all be fucked.
That's the official line from scientists. They've looked at all the numbers and they've said, yeah, essentially we're all going to be fucked.
But yeah, we wanted to have a little look at sort of fake news.
We don't talk about any of what we just spoke about there in this episode, which is quality. We talk about Trump or ice caps.
We kind of do a little bit. We'll probably touch on some of that. But yeah, so we're looking at kind of fake news about sustainability, the environment, about agriculture, about fossil fuels, about renewables, and recycling and various other things. So where do you want to start, Paul?
Well, one of my bugbears.
What are your big bears?
one of my big
bears is called. It's called Jason.
One of my big.
He's real hairy, and real sexy.
How do you know about Jason? Anyway, so one of my big bugbears is soy.
Is that because you're a soy boy?
That's because I fucking love my estrogen, right? So one of the arguments that comes up is, actually I say soy, but it's not really soy, it's cattle. So one of the big problems that we've got in the UK, in the US, in the Western world is our consumption of red meat. Now, weirdly, in the UK and the US, we mostly eat chicken.
Right.
So poultry is actually the go-to meat.
Which doesn't surprise me.
No, I mean, if you think about it, I would say, I said the UK and the US, I can't be 100% sure, but I would imagine from what I've seen that there's quite a high consumption in mainland Europe as well, but they do consume more red meat in France in certain sections.
Brazil is it's red meat central. Like they just eat.
Which was its original name before the Spanish came. And then the Portuguese, more importantly. The Spanish were there first, but don't tell the Portuguese. So with the beef, one of the articles that I came across from The Guardian states that you need 7 kilograms of soy product to produce 1 kilogram of beef.
Right, and why is that a problem?
Well, so soy is not particularly great for the environment. Essentially, soy takes up a lot of rainforest. There's about 4 billion. I've said billion, and it may actually mean million because I've just realised 4 billion hectares is fucking some ungodly amount.
Well, that would be a third of the sort of global. Basically, just to give people a sense of scale, right? The Earth's approximately 12 billion hectares of biologically productive land, and water areas are categorised into 5 types: cropland, grazing land, forest land, fishing ground, and built-up land. But that's 12 billion hectares which are available for farming of some description.
So, 4 million hectares of rainforest are destroyed every year. 2.6 million hectares of that is in Brazil alone. Now that's purely for soy production. Now, a couple of problems with soy. So one of the arguments that's put forward is if everyone was eating soy and they weren't eating cows, then cows wouldn't be getting killed. And obviously growing soy is better because it's plants and shit are good. But the problem that comes in with that is...
But you know, remember when you used to get chicken immersion pot noodles back in the day and you used to have soy like pieces in them, like little chewy bits of soy? That is nothing like that. It does not compare to a steak, right?
Yeah, that's what nothing compares to you. That's what it's about. It's about steak.
And she's like eating a pot noodle.
I just like an old pot noodle though. But like, remember one of the kids' pot noodles that were like tiny that you used to get in like packs of Golden Wonder?
All the noodles that you left me in my backyard.
All the diddles?
Noodles.
Right, I was going to say that doesn't make
all got eaten since you went away.
We'll work on this later.
Okay.
So essentially we're talking about 4 million hectares of forest destroyed every year to make soy. Now, most of that soy is going towards feeding cows.
Right.
Going towards feeding livestock. I'm not going to single out the cows here in this scenario.
I believe 80% of the world's soy production is used on livestock.
For feeding livestock, that's correct. Now, the problem is we are growing a plant that is not particularly sustainable, as in it has a negative impact for water usage for a start, but it also doesn't. It's a one-use crop. It's essentially it doesn't do the land particularly well. Now the reason this is a weird scenario is
contributes to soil erosion and stuff like that. Like as soon as you take away trees and
grass and grassland,
the topsoil can be washed away,
and it does get washed away. I mean, that's what happened. That's what happened in the US for the Dust Bowl. You know what I mean? That's what happened for a long period of time. And
Ethiopia suffered massive famine because of deforestation, and topsoil getting washed away. And
that's what's happened to our rainforest at the present moment, because we're actually, there's a kind of, what would be a two-stage trifecta? I mean, your trifecta would be three. What would be a duofecta? Like, is that?
I don't know.
Anyway, so because you've got two major components there, you're growing crops in South America for the cows, and then you have got cows in the US who are living, cows in the US and South America who are living in big, sandy, muddy areas, essentially not healthy topsoil, no grass, no carbon sink, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but right. You've got them living there, and it means that they're producing methane, they are eating lots of soy, and we are turning over lots of rainforest to produce lots of soy to feed them. Now, the reason this is particularly strange is because if you take somewhere like Europe, for example, the Europeans generally have a much higher percentage of their cows that are fed on grass. Grass is a renewable resource. It grows, they eat it, it grows. You can only eat down so far and it will grow back. You move them to another field, you let the grass grow. It's also a carbon sink. So it actually helps us with greenhouse gases. It helps us.
It absorbs carbon and it stays there while it's alive.
It does. Now, if you were using the method in the US, you would be able to have larger areas of grass. You would be able to not grow the soy on the hectares that you're not growing them on, have the cows on those areas, keep them moving about, have a carbon sink, and that would be better.
But a lot of the places in America aren't capable of growing that grass. Like I know, like in California, they use alfalfa a lot, which is what we call it lucerne apparently in Europe, but it's like clover basically. It is grass.
All right, so not the boy from Little Rascals.
No, not that guy. Not that guy.
Just like mushed up.
I mean, I don't think he would go that far, to be honest.
No, but you get Jesus in.
Oh, right, okay. Well, if we can get Jesus in, I think we can probably
feed 1 million cows with one alfalfa.
To be honest, I would. It's kind of like, you know, Thanos just like, I'll clip my fingers and get rid of half the people. Why not?
Spoiler!
Oh, fuck. Ignore that. I mean,
Jesus did. I'm not spoiling fucking blockbuster
surely
movies.
Everybody's seen Infinity War by now.
It was a one-armed man.
But why not like double the resources? with that click of the fingers, or make the resources infinite if he can do anything that he wants to do. You know what I mean?
So one of the arguments,
quite short-sighted.
So we brought it up. One of the arguments being put forward is because if he perceives the glove can only be used as a weapon, then he doesn't. The glove is based on your limitations, basically the same as like the Green Lantern ring, for example. So the Green Lantern ring is based on your willpower, but also your imagination. So if he can only perceive death and destruction, and the only way to fix it is by killing anyone, he has no logical process in his head that he can think to himself he could produce more resources. For him, the glove is essentially a weapon, and it's tied to his mentality that is get rid of rather than create more of.
Okay, well that makes sense. But the reason that I brought it up is because we're suggesting here that Jesus is going to come back for a second time, and we're going to use him to
for a second time. So you're subscribed, right? just so know where we are. Just so you know.
I'm just trying to keep the Christian fundamentalists on board.
So J-Dog's coming back, and
we're going to use him to multiply the amount of little guys from Little Rascals to make sure that the cows get fed.
So we can feed the cows.
I would suggest let's just get him to solve the problem of global warming with one fucking swoop of his hand, seeing as he is the Son of God.
But there's never that bit in the Bible where he sorted global warming. There was definitely that bit where he took a small child from Little Rascals and fed it to lots of people.
I know, but I'll write another gospel. I mean,
gospel according to Gerald.
Gospel according. I mean, it sounds pretty legit. I mean, if those other guys could write gospels hundreds of years after he's died, then I don't see why I can't write one now.
Certainly 150 years after. Anyway, that's gone off. That's for our up and coming episode on how terrible the Roman Catholic Church is. We love you guys. No, so for example, in the article it says things like meat consumption is rising in China, India, and Brazil, since it takes 7 kilograms of grain to produce 1 kilogram of beef and 4 kilograms to produce 1 kilogram of pork. This is adding to global demand. But that's actually only true, like I said, if you're using the methodology that they use in America mostly. I'm saying America, but there is lots of other places. For example, it does happen in China, also happens in I'm going to call it the Saudi beef farm, but it's the only way to describe it. Essentially, the big indoor beeftopia that they run.
It's mainly for dairy. Yeah, I believe Saudi has a dairy farm the size of Birmingham.
But again, what they do is
indoor and air conditioned.
It sounds decent. I'm stinking. Birmingham, I mean. Now back to the cows. So and
we
again,
love you, Birmingham. He's only joking.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't hate Birmingham at all. So one of the things that was put forward here in the Forbes article that I was reading about was that's exactly where some lies are coming from. So you've got 7 kilograms. You do need 7 kilograms of soy-based grain to make 1 kilogram of beef.
If you're farming it in that manner.
That's what you're feeding them.
Yeah.
But you don't need that, right? But the problem you've got is when you are using then soy to produce it, to feed to cows, you have taken two of the worst scenarios that you can create with regards to water usage, land usage, and a negative impact on the environment with things like methane gas production and no carbon sinks, and you have amalgamated these two together for a shitstorm of nasty. Do you know what I mean?
Whereas you can produce the same meat in a more ethical manner and in a way that's going to be kinder to the environment. The problem that you have, though, I guess, is that you've got the demand for it, and you know, an individual farmer who has land available and who can buy the feed for the cows, you can't really blame that guy for using what he has available to him to try and make a living, right?
No.
It's just that when you...
No.
The only way...
I don't agree. I genuinely don't agree. The more that we'll talk about this episode, I genuinely don't agree. Like, me and you have a very different view on a lot of these bits.
No, but I mean,
I would argue that...
That might be the only way that person, that individual has to make a living.
So if I can grow a plant in my garden, but the only way I can grow a plant is by spraying it with a poison that will kill all the insects and bees in the area, but it's the only way that I can make a living, then it's okay for me to go ahead and do that.
No, but I'm not talking about mass multi-fucking corporations here. I'm just talking about farming, like a family of 4 people who live on a farm of a couple of acres and have a bunch of cows. who live in the fucking Dust Bowl but happen to be able to support cows there. What I'm saying is, you need to, because we live in a capitalist world, you have to legislate in order to prevent stuff happening.
Yeah, but the problem that you've got is it's a faux problem because the demand for beef isn't as high as the demand for chicken. And you only need, if you were even using soy, you only need 2 kilograms or less of soy to produce 1 kilogram of chicken.
I would also suggest that there was the big UN report in 2006, which suggested that the livestock industry not only uses more land than any other human activity, it was also one of the largest contributors to water pollution and a bigger source of greenhouse gas emissions than all the world's trains, planes and automobiles combined. Now, and that was
it's the Transformers version of that movie, isn't it?
That was that report was quoted all over the place. Paul McCartney used it in order to convince people to go veggie. Like it was massive, this report, right? And it claimed that cows and livestock were responsible for more greenhouse gases than cars, right? And essentially, the methodology in that report has been shown to be flawed, and we'll post up the articles and whatever that show, actually, it turns out that, as far as we can tell at the moment, the latest reports are saying that livestock is responsible for, I believe it's 14% of all the human-induced greenhouse gases in the world, and fossil fuels are responsible for 65%. So obviously, that initial report in 2006 was fake news, right? It's not. Livestock is not responsible for more than all the cars and planes and automobiles. And it was that argument was latched onto massively by people who wanted to excuse the fossil fuel industry and wanted to excuse the transport industry.
It's not even just that. I mean, you hear it all the time, like in the nicest possible way. If you look at someone like PETA, if you look at various other vegan groups, they use that statistic all the time to talk about how bad the cows are, like how bad the farming, not how bad the cows are, that's never really the stance, but how bad
fuck the cows, that's what Peter always said.
My name's Peter and I wear leather. Like, whoa, Peter, that's my friend Peter.
Oh, that's
who's got nothing to do with the people for ethical treatment of the animals.
He is also always euthanizing animals though, just like Peter do. Does everybody know that Peter euthanizes like thousands and thousands of animals every year?
Like, I want to make it sound fucking ridiculous, so I'm going to say it in this way, but they genuinely take dogs off wains and kill the dogs. For translation, that's take a dog from a child and then murder the dog. But they do that, do you know what I mean? Because it's better to be
dead than to be kept in a cage for any length of time while they try to find you a new home.
They done Hunters of Mad shit as well. They let like lobsters loose and all that kind of stuff.
They also
like
pay fucking celebrities hundreds of fucking money to get their kit off and stuff like that, and then preach to me about morals so they can go fuck themselves.
They actually do lots of problems with invasive species and stuff as well. It's like, free all these crabs, and they throw them in the ocean, and then like it's not designed to be in that fucking bit of the ocean because they don't understand like basic ecology because they're all fucking mad. Not saying that they don't do other things that may or may not be seen as okay, but in the grand scheme of things, lots of people who are involved at the top level of, lots of people who are involved at the top level of PETA are mad.
We had a guy who used to donate to us who had worked for PETA and who was an animal rights activist and stuff like that, and he left because he didn't agree with all the stuff that they were doing, and he thought that they were an extremely flawed organisation. So yeah, it's not just us who believe that. But
let's look at cows again.
Okay.
So how much water does a cow use for a kilogram of beef?
I believe it's around 15,000 litres.
15,500 litres it is. Now, that...
For what space of time? Its entire lifetime?
It's the lifespan of creating a kilogram of beef.
Right.
Now...
15,500 litres per kilogram of beef.
Per kilogram of beef.
I know, but like when
so that's it. The production of its food and everything. That's the production of a kilogram of beef. So that is the water that.
I mean, if you were to look at how many litres of water have been used to produce a kilogram of me over my lifetime, it's probably like a fucking inordinate amount.
Aye, but you live substantially longer than a beef cow.
I know.
Right. So the other thing that I would say is,
the only point I'm
I need
making
a reference.
is, yeah, you need a point of reference.
So chicken is 4,325 litres per kilogram.
Yeah, and like that's basically what the research that I've done shows, that chicken and turkey were the greenest meats surveyed. Like, so it looked at. Go on, have you got any more?
Well, see, I was just going to say, so to give you to round off this scale to make it fair and stuff like that. Bananas is 790 litres per kilogram of bananas. So realistically, we should all just be fucking eating bananas.
But you can't compare a kilogram of bananas to a kilogram of beef or chicken. It's not the fucking same thing. I was going to say, it gives completely different nutrients. For example,
it does.
Okay, so let's look protein.
Let's look at the animals then, right? So in descending order, beef is at 15,500 litres per kilogram. This is all per kilogram. I don't want to have to say that again. And the number is litres of water, right? So beef is 15,500. Sheep meat, which is a horrible way to describe lamb and mutton, is 10,400.
Right.
Pork is then 5,900.
Yeah.
Weirdly, butter then sits above chicken. So in this list, it's like beef, sheep, pork, butter, chicken.
But that is an interesting point, though, right? Because we're saying that a kilogram of butter takes this amount, but that doesn't really take into account that the beef and the butter and milk and like yogurt and stuff like that all come from the same fucking animal, right?
Yes, but they don't come from the same animal. So they do come from the same animal, as in a cow will be used for dairy and for meat, but the cow in question will be used for dairy or for meat in most cases.
Surely when a dairy cow dies, they use it for meat of some description.
But a dairy cow isn't bred to be produced for meat in the same way that
Yeah, but you can't tell me that they just fucking chuck it in the bin when it's done. Like, they'll use it for
dog food.
Yeah,
no, I get that, but that's a different scenario here, because what I'm saying is like, for you to produce a kilogram for Gerard to eat beef,
which is what I always look for on the label in Tesco. Other supermarkets are available.
That's unless Tesco want to sponsor us, then they're not. So if they produce
I feel it helps.
Unless they don't want to sponsor us, then it doesn't.
Every little doesn't help
at all. Fucking.
The advert doesn't work on radio.
Doesn't translate well for radio.
But it was sexy as fuck. I can confirm.
So a kilogram of eat beef, you know what I mean? Like beef for man beef. No, that's something
Listen,
different.
I thought we were going to stop talking about Jason.
A kilogram of food.
Jason's bad beef.
food to eat beef,
yeah.
Right? Isn't necessarily from the same animal and the same breed and the same process as 200. They break when they're talking about fluids. They do it as 250ml glass.
Yeah.
So a 250ml glass of milk. In this case milk. So to produce butter uses, I know a bit of subject, we'll go back to the meat in a minute, but to produce a kilogram of butter is 5,500 litres. To produce a 250ml glass of milk is 255 litres. Now, to give you an idea, to produce a 250ml cup of tea is 27 litres. Now that's weird. Can you imagine this for 250ml? Because it's a cup of tea, but that's the production of tea. Just to give you another fluid comparison there. Do you know what I mean?
But like, interestingly enough, right? Just while we're on milk, okay? Because it's just popped into my head. Most people would sort of assume that a good alternative to dairy milk, in terms of probably, as well as not being cruel to animals, but also potentially environmentally, would be soy milk or almond milk. But that makes basically it takes 3,470 litres of water to produce a kilogram of almonds, right? Now, granted, it basically looks like a 2 litre carton of almond milk only has 30 almonds in it, which is obviously considerably less than a kilogram. I think it says that the average almond's about 1.1 grams, so you're only talking about 30 grams. So
grams to milliliter for fluid is a direct translation. So
better than that. Like you take your 3,470, divide it by 1,000. That's per gram, right? And we're saying times
30.
Times 30. And that's 104 litres, right? To produce that carton, plus all the water that's actually in that as well. So add another couple of litres because there's very little liquid you're getting at 30 almonds. But you're looking at about 106 litres of water to produce a 2 litre carton of almond milk. Now, what was it for a 250ml glass of
you'd be looking at about 2,000 litres of water to produce 2 litres of milk.
Right.
Only the idea 250ml is 250 litres, give or take, 255.
But once the almonds are produced and used, they can never be used again, right? Whereas the cow's going to keep making milk the whole time.
No, because it has to produce the milk. So for every 250ml glass.
All right, okay. So almonds actually are you are probably better drinking almond milk than. But what nutritional value does it have compared
1
to
gram of protein.
1 gram of protein
and pretty much nothing else.
In the 2 litre carton.
I mean, like I say, pretty much nothing else. You've got vitamins and minerals, but nothing that you're essentially not getting from milk. So,
but I don't think you even do have vitamins or minerals. I thought it said 1 gram of protein and nothing else unless they've added it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, so from a carton of almond milk, you will certainly get vitamin. It'll be rich with bifidus digestive. No, but it will be like iron. Usually, iron and calcium are usually the things that you see added to these drinks.
Okay, so we know about a kilogram of beef, 15,500 litres. A kilogram of almonds, 3,500 litres. So a lot less, but
yeah, I know. But 3,500 litres, right? So I can say to you that a kilogram of, and you said that you couldn't use them as comparison when we're talking about bananas, but a kilogram of olives, for example, uses 3,000 litres, right? So you're better drinking olive oil. Now, olive oil.
I don't know how good that's going to be for you.
No,
I wouldn't put it on my cereal.
But I mean, a kilogram of rice uses less than that. A kilogram, so rice milk's a thing.
Yeah.
Right. So a kilogram of rice uses 2,497. So a kilogram of rice uses 1,000 litres less.
What about soy? How much for a kilogram of soy?
So weirdly, soy's not listed on this specific list. Man, you'd be about just fucking drinking apple juice, so it's 122 litres for a kilogram of apples.
I know, but the idea is that it's something to replace dairy into it.
Yeah, so like I said though, rice milk would be the one that makes sense. Rice milk, coconut milk, like the problem that you've got is, and this is actually something that we spoke about way at the start when we actually started talking about we were going to do this episode. One of the big issues you've got is there's so many people on earth that see if you take a product and you replace the product with another product, you just shift the problem. Like, you still have to produce tons and tons and tons of kilograms of X. It doesn't fucking actually matter at that level what the X is. Like, I'm not saying that, what I'm actually saying is that diet and the way it's perceived has to be changed entirely. So essentially, we need 7 million litres of milk. Well, we don't. We should replace 7 million litres of milk with 7 million litres of coconut milk. All you have done is shifted that problem, because suddenly the agriculture that's needed to produce that amount of coconut is always going to be bad as well.
Well, yeah, and then you need to take into account the amount of land and stuff that's needed to produce them too. I guess, right, but what you can do is obviously make better decisions. So looking at the meat, right, so a recent report for DEFRA, which is the British government's environmental authority, right?
that anagram doesn't mean that.
No, it doesn't. No. I don't know what it stands for. But it was comparing animal products across 7 categories. So they were use of energy, pesticides, land, non-renewable resources, impacts in global warming, acidification, and eutrophication. Which eutrophication is like water pollution, where you've got like fertilizers like phosphates and stuff like that runs off into the water supply, like streams or rivers or whatever, and it causes algae bloom, which kills fish and stuff.
So
like
they didn't scale it on tastiness.
No.
What were they thinking?
They obviously should have, by the way. But I would and by those measures, beef and lamb got the poorest marks of all meats in terms of energy usage, global warming, and eutrophication.
And again, so if we just quickly, before we go any further on that, beef and lamb are, from a water point of view, are massive consumers. Like, I mean, essentially both beef and lamb are between 2 and 3 times more than any of the other meats regarding like pork and chicken and turkey and the likes.
Yeah. So beef also used the most land, had the highest acidification impacts, and it came close to the bottom in the remaining categories. Lamb did better, though. In fact, it scored the highest of all meats in terms of pesticide and non-renewable resource usage. So the reason for that is that fucking lamb, sheep will just go and graze on land that you couldn't like use for anything else. They're like on the side of fucking hills and shit like that, and they're eating stuff that's already there, and they're eating grass and stuff which will grow back. So
it's life cycle as well. I mean, like the problem you've got to get a cow to the point of being cow and ready to be turned into meat.
But it's not just that. It's not just life cycle. Lamb is the highest of all the meats, is what it's saying in those terms. And lamb and goat would be the same, because they are just ruminants that fucking wander about and just eat whatever's there, but they're eating stuff that's going to grow back, and they're not taking up the space of land that could be used for something else. It's like what I think we had the conversation off air about how they like let goats roam around in olive gardens and groves and stuff.
So this is actually, and it's one of the things that they even touch on in the Forbes article, that's the difference essentially between Europe and the US. That in a lot of cases in Spain and France and stuff like that, you have pigs who are allowed to just roam free, and they eat the acorns from the acorn trees that they're growing for other purposes like cork and stuff anyway, and like. It actually specifically says that. I didn't sound like a lunatic, but they'd use it in olive groves and the likes, where anything that falls from the ground, all the weeds, all the other stuff. Essentially, like having goats are like shit hot farmers for taking care of your weeds and your growths.
The problem there, and if you're looking at that in terms of pork, right, you need to take into account the fact that that pork is going to be tastier than like a farmed meat that's just trough farm, trough fed, right? And it's just they're all eating in a big line.
Yep.
But it's also going to be more expensive to buy. When it comes to slaughtering that pig, you're going to charge more for that pig. And not everybody can afford to pay fucking top dollar for meat, which is why, cage tens and stuff still exist, which is why you have this mass farming, is because you're trying to drive the cost down. So again, it comes down to the capitalist system that exists, because it's all about cost and it's all about economics. It's always going to drive the market down cheapest, which tends to be, as a rule, the worst possible thing for the environment.
But this is an education thing.
But chicken, interestingly, obviously, chicken and turkey are the greenest meats available to buy. Fish as well as. So if we're just looking at, obviously, as individuals, we can't necessarily affect global markets. We can't affect global.
Jared.
We can't affect global. But I mean, everybody that's listening to stuff as well, you're not going to be able to affect how meat is farmed worldwide necessarily. But what you can do is you can make personal choices which are going to contribute to things working out better. Like if there's not such a high demand for beef, it won't need to be farmed as much. Like, I mean, I think generally speaking in the UK, and again, we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago or whatever when I was offshore on the phone, I said to you, I think probably the majority of people do eat chicken or fish far more than they're eating beef. Like beef's like a thing that you would eat once a week, whereas I know personally I eat chicken or fish most nights.
Well, as I said, so there's a study that shows in the US that chicken is the most that we are in the nicest possible way, in a lot of terms, a little US regarding the way that we deal with a lot of different things like that. So it looks, for everything that I can find online, it looks to say the same thing, although there isn't any big study done about chicken has been covered by big beef. I don't know if big beef's an actual thing. Weirdly, I'm actually going to plug an episode. I've got a different podcast. You should listen to the Beef and Dairy Network. It's mental. It's a podcast about... It's a fake beef and dairy podcast. It's quite funny to listen to. Get some good comedians in it. Just as a side note there, when we're talking about that, it's something you should listen to.
You should also listen to Scapegoat.
Oh, you should. Oh, we're talking about goats as well.
Yeah.
And pig cast. That's not a thing. Oh, that's us. Shit. Just realised. So yeah, what I find interesting is essentially what we're talking about there, which is the way that the way that the animals are farmed, and you were saying that they would cost more money, but that's a decision thing. Now the thing,
well, it's not a decision if you're poor, Paul.
No, but see. So like I was saying a minute ago, there's an education thing here, right? People perceive that they have to eat all this meat, right? You don't. See, if we look at our closest living relatives on Earth and we look at their diets, right? They are omnivores. They eat like 30% meat and mostly vegetables and fruits, right? So even if you look at indigenous tribes out in the middle of fucking the rainforest, they eat lots of fibrous vegetables and fruits most of the time and have some meat because they have to go out and hunt the meat. That is our diet. Now, we have maybe changed and stepped away from the realities of what food is so we can go to a supermarket and just pick up meat, but we don't need, like, someone has told us that we should be eating meat and 2 veg every day, but we don't need that. We need, like, meat twice a week, or at the most 3 times a week, and the rest of the time we don't. We only need to be having meat and veg, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at diets of... If you even look at diets in places like Italy and stuff like that, they don't eat meat every day, do you know what I mean? They eat pastas with sauces without meat, you know what I mean? Like, it's not... Like, there's a very weird part of the white Western culture that is, I must consume meat for every meal. Like, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, you are having some form of meat for, you know what I mean? Like, you're having sausages, and then you're having like chicken, and then you're having a burger, and then you're having, like, you know what I mean? Every single day you're having some mad combinations of meat. Like, you don't need that in your diet. You don't need that in your diet. So what we have to do...
But people buy and cook for A, convenience, and B, cost.
Right, I know.
A lot of people, and especially people who don't have a lot of fucking cash on the hip, you know what I mean?
I know, but
which is most people.
Right, but that's both an education and a result of what we are allowing happen in the world. You know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is see, pretending that what we're going to do is we're going to fight the power by becoming a fucking vegan, or we're going to fucking tell people that they shouldn't be eating it, or any of the things that people do to try and fucking make the world. What you have to do is people have to accept the fact that the entire diet that we have, everything surrounding the way that we consume meat, is wrong. It's wrong for us. Like, I sound like a fucking mad militant vegan, but like, because I don't believe it. Right, so I seen a video. I will provide the video. It was on our friend Paul Keenan. He's a fan of the show. Certainly he gets involved in our Facebook stuff. We went to school with him. He put on a video on his Facebook where a guy was saying, we as the humans, That
sounds like a guy pretending to be a human.
I come from a human land. Are not designed to eat meat. He says, if I was, he's like, you don't have teeth or toes or
designed by who?
Like, no, like that, not designed like that, but as in, if you look at any...
We have not evolved to eat meat.
If you look at any carnivorous creature, they have the ability to tear up an animal or whatever. And he's like, if I brought a pig in right now, you wouldn't be able to kill it with your bare hands. And you know what? He's probably fucking right. But if he brought a chicken in, I could. Right? So I see what he's saying on this. Like, I couldn't, just like actual, like, I know that in some corner cases you could probably do something, but with your bare hands in a fucking field, you couldn't kill like a pig or a cow or a fucking rhino or a fucking killer whale, right? Because when he brings in the pig as the argument, it becomes completely pointless, because you couldn't kill a pig because it's a big fucking massive mammal. But I definitely could kill a rat with my bare hands and a chicken with my bare hands. So his argument that we are not designed to be able to consume these creatures is like, we're not designed to be able to consume those creatures.
But that's, no, I'm sorry, I'm not buying that argument, because that assumes that everything's about the physical. Like, we have not been designed physically, but we have, because we have been designed, or we have evolved with a brain which allows us to come up with methods of killing.
No, but that part of things becomes completely irrelevant. Because
how does it?
Because I'm going to tell you.
Right,
because great apes are the reason that it becomes completely irrelevant. Because great apes, fucking chimpanzees,
they're alright. I mean, fucking, I wish they'd stop banging on about how great they are all the time.
Chimpanzees and the likes as well, they eat small rodents, they eat birds, they eat insects, they eat meat, right? And they have, other than the fact that they have stronger physical muscles and they could probably punch a pig to death or whatever, but they have, for all intents and purposes, the same tools as we have going into a...
No, they don't.
Well, they do. From a completely physical aspect, they do.
Right.
They don't have claws. Because you don't need cognitive ability to be able to kill a creature. That's the whole point.
But you need cognitive ability to be able to design a gun or a bow and arrow or a fucking poison.
I know, but see,
dart.
but see, the argument you're making then fucking falls down, and you get vegans back up, because it becomes totally like that argument.
No. But you can't say that we have evolved to a point, right, in our design that means that we have not been designed from an evolutionary point of view to kill animals. But and you're completely discounting the fact that our brains have evolved to the point that they are at, and we have evolved to the point that we can do whatever the fuck we want.
No, but that's totally irrelevant, because we can't kill the animals that would be our diet. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. We now choose to fucking farm cows, and we choose to farm pigs.
But we have evolved to the point that we are able to do that. That's as much part of our evolution as the physical.
No, but you know, I don't think you're following what I'm saying. We have chosen to farm animals, right? And we have got to that. But that's irrelevant, because we are physically capable of killing the animals that are in our dietary. Like, if you look at the other creatures that we are... If you look at what our diet should be, our diet would be, like, because of our actual physical makeup, right? So our height and size and what we need, and how much energy that we need to take in every day from meat, from what we need, we are physically capable of murdering that thing with the tools that we have, without any weapons, without any cognitive ability. We have the ability, because what we need from a point of view of fucking protein to consume is fucking ferrets. I could punch a beaver to death. I could fucking strangle a chicken, which sounds like a metaphor for masturbating. But
choking. But Paul, the point is, right, just because you kill a whole cow through farming does not mean that I have to consume a whole cow, right? Okay, yes, I get what you're talking about in terms of the percentage of our diet that's required, but you can still achieve that percentage of your diet by just portion control and fucking dieting. I mean, you have issues in terms of evolution, because we evolved 50,000 years ago or so to be hunter-gatherers, and then we started fucking farming crops and whatever. Our lifestyle got worse and our diet got worse, because wheat's fucking bad for you, and also it made us live in close proximity with livestock. We got a lot of diseases. Like, when we stopped being hunter-gatherers and started being farmers, life for human beings got measurably worse.
Yeah, no, but my whole point with that whole video,
point in time,
my whole point with that video is, his argument was he took a large mammal, and the point that he was trying to make is, we eat that, but we don't have the physical ability to kill that itself like other animals. But my whole point is, that's we choose to eat that and we can eat that because of where we are, but that's entirely irrelevant because I can kill a chicken with my bare hands. So if he had brought a chicken
if you ate a whole chicken, that's still too much.
No, but I'm not. No, what are you talking about?
I don't
know. I don't
think
think. Like, my point is, if he the same fucking argument that he made, if he brought a chicken into the room and said you couldn't kill this with your bare hands, you clearly could. If he brought in a pig, he brings in a rhino, he brings in a fucking elephant, and you couldn't kill this elephant with your bare hands. Of course, you couldn't kill an elephant with your bare hands. It's totally irrelevant because if he had brought in a fucking ferret and says you couldn't kill this ferret with your bare hands, I absolutely definitely could kill a ferret.
His point was that you shouldn't eat animals at all because you can't kill them with your bare hands.
Well, his point is like he says like we're not physically adapted the same way a creature who kills other animals to eat is doing it with our physical attributes. But then the example he used is something that we couldn't kill. But he totally neglected the fact that if he brought in a bag full of rats, I could kill a bag full of rats.
Okay, right. Sorry, right. Well, we're well off the beaten track here.
But anyway, my point being with that is we are designed to we have a diet that we should be sticking to. The diet that we eat now, the overconsumption that we've got in the world. Like the reason that we are using 15,500 litres per fucking kilogram of cow and producing fucking 80% of the fucking soy and destroying fucking 4 million hectares of the fucking rainforest to feed a cow to produce that kilogram of fucking meat, like, is because we are now indoctrined into a scenario where...
But it's not, it's capitalism, man, it's profit, right?
But that's still indoctrined, that's what we are. Like, that doesn't change the fact that that's what we are.
It's supply and demand. There's demand for it. People want it, right? I'm not saying that that's
but people
right.
are idiots.
I'm not saying, yeah, but listen, hear me out. I'm not saying that that's correct, right? But I'm saying that if you live in a society that's purely driven by profit, then that's always going to happen because people want what they want and people will produce what they can sell to make money, and they demonstrably can make money by selling lamb and pig and cow, so they make it.
But there's no point in...
Might not be... I mean, it certainly definitely isn't best for us. We certainly shouldn't probably be eating that amount of meat, but people want to, and people will pay for it, so they will continue to farm that way unless there's some sort of intervention, or, as you say, unless people are educated to not eat as much meat.
But that's what it comes down to when you look at the numbers. The problem that you've got is people want to, but people don't know what they're talking about. Fucking, there's people who want to go to fucking Thailand and pay to have sex with children, but the reason that we don't let them do that is because
you can compare that to fucking eating a steak, though.
No, but it's not. But it's still people want to, so they go and do it. Like the argument that like people want to, so if they want it, supply and demand. Like it doesn't matter what the supply and demand is. There's an education scenario where we won't be able.
But there's a democracy. There's a democracy element to that as well, though, isn't there? Because people vote with their feet. People vote with their fucking coin.
No, they don't.
No, people do. They vote.
No, they don't. If you there's articles, I'll send them over to you and we'll put them online. But there's articles that show that actually people voting with their feet makes no difference at all.
What do you mean? Like, no. The point I'm making is that people are paying for and consuming the beef and the chicken and whatever. Now, they may not need it in their diet, but they are choosing to do it.
But they're being told that they want to. They are not choosing to. People aren't waking up in the morning and being like, I want to eat beef because I want to eat beef. People are waking up in the morning and being told, you want to eat beef, so go and eat beef. It's not the same thing. Like, we are living in a society where, like, supply and demand only works if that's what's happening. You're supplying something that people are wanting, but you're not. You're telling people they want something and then you're giving them it. That's not the same thing.
Well, people are going out and paying for it, Paul.
But that's only because they're being told they want it.
Well, it's not only because of that, is it? Because if it didn't taste nice and they didn't want to eat it, you couldn't fucking force people to eat it. People enjoy eating the stuff or they wouldn't do it.
Right, but people, like, I know, but the reason that they're eating it all the time is because they're being told they should eat it all the time.
Well, I agree there's an education point of view that, you know, people could be re-educated, but where I'm coming from, for purely economic terms, right, in a supply and demand scenario, people eat beef because they like the taste of beef. People continue to buy beef because they want to eat the beef that they like the taste of. Nobody is forcing them to do that. And the fact that, like, I mean, the price of everything's going up, right? We have inflation in the UK. Things get more expensive, seem to be getting more expensive year on year at the moment, and yet people are continuing to pay extra money to eat beef.
But that's because people believe that they should eat meat for every meal.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Right now, I could go out and find you 10 people in the street, and it's like, what should you have for dinner? And it's like, I should have meat and fucking 2 veg. You know what I mean? That is what that, or fucking, you know what I mean? That's what people believe that they should be consuming. Yeah. But that's not what is the case, and we've been indoctrinated into believing that that's what we should eat.
I mean, I probably, in fact, definitely, I eat meat every day. I eat meat every day for sure, and maybe I shouldn't, but I do, you know, and I like it. I'm not saying that that's the best thing for me, and you know, maybe it's something that I should consider as moving on to just eating a bit less. You know, having a couple of veggie days or whatever.
See, I mean, so I do have that. You know, what I mean, I do have veggie days. I eat meat probably about 3 times a week at a push.
But this is not. We're not right now talking about sustainability or fake news surrounding.
Well, no, but we'll see. It is fake news though. That actually is because because people believe, because people have been indoctrinated into believing that that's what they should be consuming. But we can show that that's not what they need, and it doesn't actually produce any benefit. And what it does is it then creates this horrendous cycle where you are producing lots and lots of meat and lots of waste from the meat. There's an article that actually I don't have here because it's on the other computer, so I was going to try and talk round it, but I should really bring it up that there's very strict rules regarding best before dates and use by dates in the UK, and it means that some ungodly amount, like 30, 40, 50% in some cases, depending on the different types of food manufacturer, never make it to sale, or make it to sale but then are never sold and then go to waste because we are producing at a level because we are
overproducing.
Yes, but that's the thing. So see, when you start overproducing, it's not then supply and demand. You're producing for a market that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like if every time you produce beef, you're producing an extra 30% of beef, you are producing for a market that doesn't exist. That's an extra 30% of cows that shouldn't be getting made.
I would say that's inefficiency rather than, you know, there's not demand for it. Like there's demand for 66% of it, but they have not tuned the production system efficiently enough to deal to ensure that there's not a third wasted. You know,
it's because they don't give a shit. Because
I know.
Per head of
and they're still obviously making a profit.
Yeah, exactly. Per head of beef, it costs
so
little.
And demand.
No, but per head of beef, it's so little that they don't give a shit. So they just produce all this meat that then goes to waste.
And kind of this is the main crux of my issue with the whole farming industry, with fossil fuels, with energy industry, with all the stuff we're going to look at, with recycling, with plastics, with whatever, is that the capital in the current system that the global economy works under, none of these problems are ever going to be solved because people are making money this way, and there's nothing. The market is not driving them to change their ways. The planet needs them to, but the market doesn't. So the two things are clashing massively. And obviously, there's no point in making profit if we're all fucking dead. So we need to obviously look at something. We need to look at some sort of intervention.
Before we move on to the next subject, what I would say is the way I perceive it is there was a time where the market drove them to be producing, to be creating money. I now perceive it as they are producing a market and making people spend. They're essentially creating a scenario like where people are, for the most part, essentially living like zombies. They have to go and buy meat and they have to go and eat the meat, and the reason for that is because they have produced this environment where they're just like, and here's meat, and you will eat meat every day, and this is meat, and this is what you eat, and this is what you go, and you go to the supermarket, you go to Tesco, and fucking 30% of the whole area of Tesco is taken up by just endless amounts of meat. You get 2 rows of vegetables and fucking 4 fridge rows of meat. Like, you have very little choice in the grand scheme of the vegetables and fruits that you've got, but you've got literally every fucking cutty about 10 different animals.
I think that's a cultural thing, particularly pertaining to us and probably the US as well. Like, it's not like that in a lot of the countries that I've been in. You know, they don't have this, like, certainly in India, like a lot of the Hindus don't eat meat at all, you know. A lot of Buddhists won't eat meat at all. Like, there's different cultures in the world where
they're like quite old and they look quite happy though. I'm just saying, like, you know, they're
you know, so it's a but I'm
but
saying
I know it's a cultural thing, but that's what I mean. It is an education and cultural
thing.
thing. Like, I mean, the places that you've listed there aren't exactly known for their die-hard capitalist model that they live by. Like,
well, I don't know. Like, Asia's pretty fucking. Asia seems to be doing all right for Ramstan.
you had Buddhists and Indians that don't eat meat. I mean, they're not exactly known for their
Yeah, but like, you know, fucking China's fucking nominally Buddhist, and
China has a farm the same size as like.
It's the biggest dairy farm in the world, I think, is in China. Isn't it?
It's like, without a word of a lie, it's like from like Dorset to like the other side of Birmingham or something. It's like the whole of the south of England in terms of square footage.
So what we've looked at, right? We've looked at meat, which meats are sort of better for the environment than others. We've looked at the crops that livestock require. So, like, livestock industry as a whole consumes 80% of all soybeans, more than half of all corn in the world.
Soybeans are shagging the rainforest. They're using a lot of water.
Deforestation. So there are crops which can improve things. Like, so if we choose to grow certain crops, then we can improve the current state of like carbon neutrality and deforestation and topsoil erosion and stuff like that, right?
I mean, essentially, if we reduced our consumption of red meat and we started feeding them grass rather than soy in the US, the difference it impact would make to the environment is absolutely astronomical. Do you know what I mean? We can show that.
And we know that things like avocados use a massive amount of water and actually cause a lot of problems in Mexico, where crop growers are choosing to grow avocados for hipsters rather than other crops, and it's led to topsoil erosion, it's led to droughts, it's led to all the water being used to make avocados to fucking sell to fucking hipsters in the UK to put on their toast.
Quinoa is another one that does the exact same thing. Quinoa, it's to get the exact same problem. So essentially it was being produced as a grain for the local people, and then it became cool and hip. I say a grain, it's not actually a grain, it's a seed, but anyway, it became cool and hip, and at that point people started eating it. But then suddenly the grains that they were producing, or the seeds that they were producing for them to eat, were now getting sold out. So you then weren't producing anything for your local people. So you're then creating a food poverty for the people around you.
Yeah.
So you could then make profit for people who want to have quinoa salad with their avocado for breakfast.
But and again, this is a problem that is kind of cyclical, which has happened over and over again. You know, coffee was the big thing about 10, 15 years ago, and that's why we've got a lot of fair trade coffee and stuff like that now, and a lot of fair trade crops in general, I suppose, because it turned out that a lot of these places in South America and whatever, and Africa were basically growing these cash crops, not growing enough food, so there wasn't enough food to feed the people who were there, but they were basically fucking growing this stuff because they knew they could sell it to the Western market. We were getting the coffee and stuff we needed. The farmers were getting paid, but they were getting paid an unfair amount of money, and global corporations were making massive profits, and the people round about were suffering from drought and famine. So,
and another good example of that's kind of been cleaned up a bit, but it's still particularly bad. There's a couple of videos that I would suggest watching on this. Chocolate. So chocolate is fucking terrible for water, for a start, right? So,
worse than cow?
Yes, so we were saying that cow, for a kilogram of beef, for a kilogram of cow, you're looking at 15,500 litres. For a kilogram of chocolate, you're looking at 17,196 litres. Now, a kilogram of chocolate is a luxury item. Now, I will accept the fact
Almost
that,
no nutritional benefit.
exactly. I will accept the fact that beyond where I believe, with the education with beef, people need to eat some form of protein, and that's what they've chosen to do. But people are only eating chocolate because they want to eat chocolate. Do you know what I mean? Because they want to consume chocolate. Chocolate is absolutely a supply and demand scenario. That is not driven by you want to, maybe it is, but maybe it is driven by people being told that they want to eat it.
No, it's not.
But it's addictive.
Yeah, and it fires dopamine receptors, and it releases serotonin.
Have you ever watched the video of the guys in, I'm going to say the Ivory Coast, but don't hold me to that, but in a cocoa farm where the guy brings them a chocolate bar? Because they've never seen a chocolate bar. So they cut down and they work every day, and he sits them down and he gives them a chocolate bar, and they're essentially crying. They're just like, I can't believe this is what we make. It's like, this is the most amazing thing that I've ever tasted. Like, is that what you get from this fucking horrendous fucking massive bastard that I cut down every day? Like, that's why it was like a Kit Kat. I'm not even kidding you. Like, they essentially four of them sat down, they had a finger of Kit Kat, and it was like, this is fucking amazing. But also, think about it. I mean, imagine you spend your entire life cutting down and you have no concept of what it is that's being made at the other side.
They should sort out the guys who are fucking farming fucking coke.
I'm pretty certain they know exactly what it's like. That's why they get right high yields.
Holy fuck, this stuff's amazing.
Is that what's going on here? It's mine now. You know what I tell you about myself? So, like, the other day, we were doing something, I was really good at it, and I just
I've got a really good idea for a screenplay.
Have you seen? I've collected the mace coca leaves. I'm quite good at collecting coca leaves. Do you know? Hang about the coca leaves when I grow up. Well, fuck, man, you've had enough.
Too many coca leaves.
But yeah, so chocolate is particularly bad. Now, chocolate has also been used in the same way you were talking about coffee, where it was exploiting everyone, child labourers. I mean, Nestle up to very recently, and I still think, although it might be liable, probably still are, but Nestle up till very recently were in the news for using child labourers in the Ivory Coast to fucking get themselves chocolate, like, because I think we've maybe mentioned before, but they're a horrible company.
Nestle are cunts.
A horrible company. But yeah, so I mean, but that, like I said, there's just one that is a purely luxury item that I can guarantee you, when you're being told that you shouldn't eat meat, the same people that tell you shouldn't eat meat will happily sit down with a bar of 80% fair trade chocolate, still use fucking nearly 18 litres of fucking water to make it. Like, it's that's fucked. that one specifically.
So it's all been quite negative so far, I think we can agree. So here's a more positive spin, right? Here's a crop that we could grow that would have a lot of benefits.
Weed?
No, well, no. I've shied away from that one. This is bamboo, right? So a really good article that I came across in the New York Times, fake New York Times, and it's talking about the district of Asosa, right? In the district of Asosa, the land is thick with bamboo. People plant it and manage the forests. They rely on its soil-grabbing roots to stabilise steep slopes and river banks, cutting erosion. They harvest it to burn for fuel, to make into charcoal sticks to sell to city dwellers and to build furniture. Asosa is not in China, not even in Asia. It is a district in the west of Ethiopia on the Sudanese border. To many people, bamboo means China, but it's not just panda food. Mountain gorillas in Rwanda also live in bamboo. About 4% of Africa's forest cover is bamboo. Basically, what it goes on to say is that, like, bamboo's a grass, so it takes up...
You know what they say, snitches get stitches. Bamboo's a grass.
So you can cut it down and use it, and it will grow back. In some cases, it can grow as quickly as 3 feet a day in the right environment.
I believe you can hear it growing.
Yeah. It can be used for fucking shitloads of stuff, including fibres for making clothes and whatever. And it's obviously far better than synthetic fibres, which are made from oil. It is a carbon sink, so it actually sucks carbon out of the atmosphere and keeps it in there until it's used for burn or whatever. It's a great fuel, and in Africa in particular, they have a big problem with fuel and they need fuel, and that's why there's been so much deforestation in Africa. It grows incredibly quickly, so you can replant forests at the same square footage of bamboo forest. Sucks in way more carbon and produces huge amount more oxygen than a normal like hardwood or softwood forest would. It's just got so many benefits, can be used for so many things, grows quick. It also keeps the soil together. It raises the water table. Like there was a bit in this article which was amazing. Yeah, so because bamboo requires few nutrients, it can grow in soil inhospitable to other plants. Not only does it thrive there, it can reclaim the land so other plants can thrive too. Its roots leach heavy metals from the soil, hold the soil together and draw water closer to the surface. One example is a project in Allahabad, India, to reclaim land whose topsoil had been depleted by the brick industry. In 1996, an Inbar project planted the land with bamboo. 5 years later, villagers could farm the land again. Dust storms were greatly reduced. The bamboo also helped raise the water table by 7 metres. In 2007, the project won the Global Alcan Prize for Sustainability. So it can grow fucking almost anywhere in the fucking world, this stuff.
It grows really fast. I mean, actually, we're going to say it in a kind of dreary scenario. They used to use it to torture people.
Yeah.
Because you could make it essentially grow through people because it grows that fast that it was. It grows so fast you can act.
Why do you always have to ruin everything, Paul?
No, what I was going to say is
try to be positive. Yeah, it can torture people.
Well, I mean, I can be all the positive for bamboo for days because. So I used to work with a company that produced paper out of bamboo. By the way, so we're clear, it's really, really, really difficult to get large, kilogram thick white slabs delivered from Argentina to the UK. people question it greatly. But yeah, so I've been a big proponent of bamboo for a long time. All my toothbrushes and the kids' toothbrushes, they're all made of bamboo. The toilet roll that I get for the house is made of bamboo. Like, I use bamboo for everything. It
sounds like you're rapping. Bamboo. Bamboo.
But really, like even my toothpaste is made from charcoal from bamboo.
Bamboo.
Like it's my thing. I quite like bamboo. I've got a lot of love for the shit. The stuff's amazing. Like it can be used. You can press it into plates. You can make it, like you said, into fibre for clothes. Everything that's in your house is made of wood should just be made of bamboo.
Well, there was an article I came across called "The Top 10 Reasons Why Bamboo Can Save the Planet," which is worth a wee quick look. So, it's a renewable resource. Depending on the species, it can be harvested in 1 to 5 years. I think we said that. Hardwoods like oak take at least 40 years to mature before they can be harvested. Almost 1 million acres of forest are lost each week. Blah blah blah. We know all that shit. Absorbs greenhouse gases, absorbs carbon dioxide and releases 35% more oxygen in the atmosphere than an equivalent stand of hardwood trees. It's amazing growth rate, very little waste. After harvesting, virtually every part of the plant is used to make a wide variety of products. Versatility, no fertilizer, pesticides or herbicides are needed. Unlike most cash crops, bamboo requires no agricultural chemicals to thrive. It protects soil. In less developed countries where unemployment leads to civil unrest, bamboo production and manufacturing bamboo products provides job opportunities.
I mean, the shit's strong as fuck. You can use it for scaffolding. They use it in China for scaffolding.
Yeah, instead of, because it's easier to use, it's cheaper. I mean, I don't know how safe it is, but they fucking seem to get away with it. So
if you had the opportunity to have the scaffolders on the rig, just using bamboo and hanging of it outside,
I wouldn't be fucking climbing up that shit.
Is that not what you say about any of the scaffolding that's on the rig done by your scaffolders?
I have to climb up. Well, no, I guess the scaff tag. It's an infallible system. Someone signed it and said it's fine. So if I die, it's their fault. Now that I think about it, maybe I'm not going to bother. So
we spoke about bamboo and we spoke about how shitty beef is for the world.
But as I said earlier, the latest report that's out shows that basically cows and other livestock are only responsible for 14% of human-induced emissions in the world, but fossil fuels are responsible for 65%. So I think we need to look a little bit closer at fossil fuels and energy production, basically. So specifically in the UK, the latest report I could find out, which was from March 2018, government report from the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, so it was from Q4 2017, it shows that at present 70% of energy production comes from oil, gas and coal in the UK. So we're still, not doing great in terms of producing energy from renewables, although positively it has improved somewhat. So I think Q4 2016 we were sitting at 22% from renewables, and Q4 2017 it was 30.2%. So it's increasing, so that's a positive. We're moving in the right direction, which you would hope to see. But since the Paris Accord was signed, which the US have now pulled out of, there's a number of countries across Europe and stuff who have committed to cutting down the use of petrol and diesel cars. The UK has specifically said that we will not allow production of new petrol and diesel cars from 2040. There's a number of other countries, including, I think the Netherlands have said that they will commit to 2030. And I've got a list here.
I didn't actually get the other country. I didn't get where it was, but I would imagine from the information that I've seen from the biggest car manufacturer in the country that Sweden must be aiming towards that as well.
So the list of countries, UK ban commences in 2040. It's for gasoline and diesel, and it's for new vehicle sales. China has announced the ban in 2017, and the ban commences in the near future, apparently, for gasoline and diesel production.
To be continued.
France said 2040, and it's new vehicle sales for gasoline and diesel, same as us. Germany 2030, it's for combustion engines, and it's new vehicle sales. India 2030, it's for gasoline and diesel, new vehicle sales. Ireland 2030. Israel 2030. Netherlands have went for all vehicles that are not emission free as of 2030.
It's going to be really difficult to own a lorry in the Netherlands.
Norway, get this, 2025 gasoline and diesel. Taiwan 2040 non-electric. And specifically territories, Athens have said 2025 for diesel. Brussels have said 2030 for diesel. Madrid have said 2025 for diesel. Mexico City, 2025 for diesel. Paris, 2025 for diesel. Rome, 2024, just to be like, fuck all of y'all, we're one better than you, for diesel. And Scotland, 2032, weird fucking...
fuck all y'all, we're slightly worse than Besties.
for gasoline or diesel. So, good idea. I'm glad that we're moving towards that. But when you look at how we're producing our energy, and some of the things that are going on in the UK and globally, it is a bit of a cause for concern.
So can I just check? That's for vehicles?
It's for new vehicles being produced.
Yeah, so it is just new vehicles. So it's not. It's not like diesel engines. Rather, it's diesel engine vehicles.
Yeah, and it's new vehicles, so it doesn't mean that you can't still drive a vehicle you already own.
It's going to get pretty tough to get a hold of the fuel, though, because...
No, it won't get tough to get a hold of the fuel. There'll still be petrol stations and stuff here, but there will be... I mean, they've already started to introduce legislation which is attempting to dissuade people, I would say, from driving cars with high emissions, right? You get taxed higher. You get I would stand by my statement. By 2040 and then moving further forward, it's going to get harder and harder to get fuel, because the more people who are using electricity, the less demand there's going to be. As you were saying, you know what I mean? There's less demand there's going to be for fuel. Yeah, but there's not going to be less demand for fuel when you look at
Fuel from petrol stations.
I still don't think so, because it's not unless there's a serious step change in the technology. I'll give you a really good example of this, right? So on Thursday, me and two guys that I work with had to jump into a taxi at the heliport in Blackpool, right? We were running late, and the taxi didn't come for a little while, and we were trying to get to Blackpool North train station. We were halfway there, and we weren't going to make it in time, so we said to the guy, just take us to Preston Station. We'll get the train there. Wasn't a big deal for me, but the two guys that I was travelling with were trying to get to Norwich, which meant going through London Euston. So it was like pretty much the last train that they could get to get home at a reasonable time. So the guy says, right, well, I'll try to get you to Preston as soon as I possibly can, but this is an electric car, so it can only do 15 miles. So we had to stop for him to charge up his electric car, and those two guys ended up missing their train.
It can only do 15 miles, what, at all?
It can only do 15 miles at a time.
Right, I know, but, like, what the fuck was he in? Like, it was a remote control car. Like, you...
No, it was a big... You wouldn't have known it was an electric car until he fucking said to you, oh, this is an electric car, and you're like, oh yeah, it's really quiet. But it was like a fucking big taxi fucking shaped fucking thing.
But like, it can only do 15 mile. Like, obviously, that's garbage. Like,
I know.
No, but like, we know people who have electric cars that can already do more than 15 mile.
The car that I have is, on paper, can do 25 mile electric, right? But in actual practical terms, probably canny. You're probably looking at about 15, 20 tops, right? Probably a good bit less than that, driving it like you would a normal car. Yes, there are cars like Teslas and stuff like that, but they're way more expensive than a petrol equivalent would be. Currently, yeah. And I do see that the technology is going to improve, and that's obviously a brilliant thing. But right now, this is a situation we're in. Also, look at how the electricity is produced. So I was looking...
I don't think that's any better. I mean, that's still really bad. All you're doing is hiding the problem. Instead of you burning the fuel in your car, you're just burning the fuel in a room over there and then getting the electricity for your car.
That's producing, yeah, because electricity at the moment in the UK, 70% of the electricity that's produced in the UK is produced from fossil fuels, and 20% is produced from nuclear. So only 10% is produced by renewables. But
the problem with your renewable energy, and the bit that very rarely people really focus on, is the fact that what are you going to do with your energy? Like, if you're not using the energy, where's your energy going?
Yeah, like, there's an issue with most wind energy, if it's not being used at the time it's generated, it's just gone, it's lost.
The same way wave energy, and the same with solar energy to an extent as well.
You need battery technology needs to be advanced significantly.
That Tesla guy again, he
is working on that, and he has produced like pretty small good batteries, but again,
and flamethrowers,
massively, and flamethrowers, but again, they're massively expensive at the moment. So I'm saying it's a great thing that we're legislating for this and we're pushing towards this, but it's going to take serious investment, and I'm not sure that there's necessarily an appetite for people to do that. When you look at some of the stats for like energy consumption and production globally, so I was looking at this publication from the IEA, which stands for the International Energy Agency, 2017 Key World Energy Statistics. I was looking at sort of main things I was looking at were what percentage of global energy is produced by fossil fuels. That's 81.4% in the entire world right now is from fossil fuels. 5% worldwide is from nuclear, and the rest is from cleaner energy types. So you're looking at about 14% from green energy, basically, what we would call green energy, like biomass, solar, hydro, all of that stuff, right? But within the OECD, so like the developed countries, the countries that we would expect to be leading the charge towards green energy, 80% comes from fossil fuels, so slightly better than the global average. But 10% from nuclear, which is double the global average, and only 10% is coming from greener energies, which is obviously significantly less than the global average. So, who are the OECD countries? The OECD countries are Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Chile, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Korea, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Mexico, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, the Slovak Republic, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, the UK, and the US. So, begs the question, why the fuck are those countries, of all the countries in the world, not doing far more to promote renewable energies and to produce renewable energy?
Well, we know the answer to that. The reason that they're not is because there's lots of people with lots of money and lots of fossil fuels.
It's also, there is an infrastructure problem, right? And there is a technology issue, right? We still have a technology deficit. It's all well and good promising that by 2040 we're going to have got rid of all the cars, but there's a far bigger issue, certainly in the UK, in terms of central heating. Was something that I started looking at off the back of this.
Just before that, to put some stuff into perspective, when you're talking about with the cars, you've got one of the big problems. So take your car, for example, 20 mile, 25 mile on electric. The problem you've got there is, in the UK, that's almost sustainable. Give or take. I mean, like, you're never...
I'd say Michelle does most of her driving on electric here, yeah.
But in the US, it's not.
No.
Like, 25 mile is how far away your Walmart is, you know what I mean? I know it's not quite that, but essentially...
There's also less incentive because petrol's a lot cheaper in America than it is here.
Yeah, so, I mean, and you have to... Your electricity bill then suddenly goes up, you know what I mean?
Well, actually, not that much. It costs they reckon about 30 pence to fully charge that car. So it's a hybrid, obviously, and you can put petrol in it and it runs pretty well on the petrol. But yeah, it's about 30 pence to charge my motor fully. So, like, I thought the same as you, that when I got the charging point installed and I got that car, I would notice a significant increase in my electricity bills, and I didn't.
Still going to go up, though. It's still going to go up, like
30p a day, you know what I mean? Like, across a month, it's, it's less than it would cost to fill a tank of petrol.
The company car that I filled up for going down to Birmingham yesterday, it was 90 quid.
Oh, dearly me.
90 quid.
Yeah, so that's like, in 3 months of full charges, I couldn't fucking make 90 quid up, you know what I mean? If I was charging it fully every day, if flat to fucking full.
That was a tank of diesel and getting about 800 miles out of tank it.
Now, full disclosure to anybody who's listening who doesn't know this, I work in the oil and gas industry, right? I know that there's massive problems in my industry, and I'm not somebody who's on here to defend it at all. Like, it's what I do for a living. I think that some of the arguments against it, while obviously environmentally it's unsound, I do think a lot of people who are mad against it are massive hypocrites, because they don't practice what they preach. They still drive around in their cars, and like, even so, the folk who were like in Seattle a couple of years ago, there was a big protest against the Shell drilling platform, that was an exploration platform that was going up to the Arctic Circle, and they were like, how can you do this? So they all got in kayaks and fucking like paddled around about it and surrounded it by kayaks. All of those kayaks were made by fucking synthetic plastics that were produced for fucking petrochemicals. Probably fucking almost every single person there drove their kayak to the fucking water to get in and protest. So, like, I know their heart's in the right place and whatever, but, until there's always going to be people out there producing oil as long as there's a demand for it.
Well, I mean, one of the other things, and something when we were talking about when we mentioned vegan leather and stuff like that, is exactly that. So the argument that it's bad for you to wear wool because wool is a byproduct of an animal.
Yeah.
But you're wearing a fucking polyester jumper. That's a byproduct of the oil industry. Now, I can guarantee you that sheep being sheared is not impacted the world, not impacted the sheep, not impacted anything as much as the oil that's getting pulled out for your synthetic material. Fucking moaning at me.
We know that fossil fuels are responsible for 65% of fucking emissions in the atmosphere.
Moaning at me from your iPhone. You know what I mean? Like, what type of fucking special idiot do you have to be to not understand that? Well, so renewable energy, you go and look at a wind turbine. How much of that wind turbine exists because of byproduct of the petrol industry? You know, I mean the petrochemical industry.
But we should be using existing industries to improve and to make things better, right? And I do think that it's important that everybody sort of just does little things to sort of try and make things better. But you know, it is a concern that the OECD countries aren't in a better position. You would expect them to be in a better position than the global average on renewables, and they're actually in a worse position. That's a worry. The serious concern, and something that I hadn't really thought about until I started researching this episode, was it occurred to me, well, how does everybody heat their homes in the UK? And I knew that my anecdotal evidence from all of the people that I knew in the various parts of the world I'd been to, and I was fairly sure that like gas boilers were probably the most popular method, but I wasn't 100% sure, and I wondered what other types of heating people had in their homes. Well,
I use a metal barrel full of wood that hobos stand round. It keeps my house nice and warm, and
that explains the beard.
Yeah, it does. It makes me. It makes my fingerless gloves look less creepy.
Only slightly less. You've got a big pocket dot too. So, yeah, it turns out that 90% of central heating in the UK comes from fossil fuel based systems.
Gas.
Either gas or fuel oil.
Yeah. I mean, I find it crazy that people still use fuel oil. Like,
that's a big thing, but like in rural areas where the gas isn't I
understand.
Gas is piped here. Yeah. If you go to Northern Ireland, it's all fucking fuel oil, or they have like gas tanks that a truck comes and fills up the gas, and they work off of that.
And I just find it mental when
they find it mental that we've all got mains gas here, which I find mental. But there you go. So it's a big fucking roundabout of mentalness.
Except one of those two things is mental, and it's getting it's getting the oil delivered at the back to run your house.
Yeah. So 90% of them are fossil fuel based. The other 10% are electrical heating. The problem with that is that we already know that 70% of that electricity is also produced by fossil fuels. So currently 97% of the central heating in the UK is fossil fuel based, which means emissions, which means fucking carbon dioxide going into the fucking air, which means greenhouse fucking issues, which means climate change, which means problems. So in order for us to improve as a country, it's going to take a massive infrastructure investment. Like, the government are going to have to do something in order to get 97% of the country, or certainly I can accept that 10% who currently run on electricity, who currently run on electrical heating, we can make that 100% renewable at some point, presumably.
Yeah, I mean,
so that 10% is golden.
You can even make it nuclear.
But we still have a 90% problem in the UK that all of our heating is based on fossil fuels, and it's not a simple fix. There's not a simple add-on that you can put onto a gas boiler to make it not work from gas anymore and suddenly work from electric.
You just pump hydrogen into these. I mean, I foresee other problems with that.
So we need to come up with a solution for that.
You've even got gas cookers is another problem. Like, cooking with electric cookers.
I didn't even look at fucking gas cookers.
Well, you have to go on the idea that see the 90% of people that have got gas central heating, almost all of those houses will have gas cookers. Give or take. The standard rule is gas hobs, electric ovens. That's what you would have.
Yeah, because like if you're a chef, that's what you want.
That's what you want. Gas hobs, electric ovens. You can set
I've got a gas hob.
You can set your temperature in the ovens, and that's fine. But gas, the difference between, you have control of the heat.
Yeah.
You can turn it down. You can't turn down electric. So
you can. It just takes fucking an inordinate amount of time to actually cool down.
You can't really turn it down. It's an indefinite plate of heat forever. Do you know what I mean? Like there is no direct heat. So all of those people are all using gas, but unless you can provide a different gas, like unless you can provide like,
well, I suppose you have those. I don't know what you've got. You've got
induction, right? So actually, the best one that you can have is induction. If you actually have a choice, but
really, would you think like world class chefs would choose induction over gas?
Depends on how they were cooking in their house, probably in their kitchen. No,
I don't think they would thank you for induction in their house either.
Induction's pretty sweet. So, like, I mean, it's quite amazing when you use induction, but you have to use particular pans and stuff like that as well. You really get it's just, but it's quite an amazing bit of technology. I mean, it works real well. But yeah, but you have to produce a different type of gas.
And anyway, that electricity is currently being produced by fossil fuels.
I mean, but you have to produce a different type of gas. Essentially, is what I'm getting at, because people aren't going to, like, you're not making the world go back to gas, go back to electric cookers. They're just not going to do that. So you then need to have a sustainable biogas. I mean, that's terms that I'm not even sure is 100% right for it.
I mean, like all the waste food and stuff that's out there. Like, so there are like biomass plants and stuff in the UK that take waste, rotten vegetables and whatever, and let it decay and turn into fucking gas and use it to move turbines. In fact, a couple of guys that I was working with were doing like a commissioning project on one of these down in London, and I mean it must have been like a whole big fucking like waste plant with rubbish coming in and recycling and
like an incinerator centre and stuff like that, you know.
And yeah, it had all sorts of stuff going on, but they had these the hilarious story tell, they had these big fucking macerators, big fucking rotor blades just chopping up stuff, and it, like, they had conveyor belts, they were separating everything out and all the individual stuff was going on, and they actually had somebody had to watch it constantly, because one of the main thing that these rotor blades couldn't deal with was dildos. And they had a big fucking wall where they had all the fucking dildos all fucking stuck to that they'd had to remove from the conveyor belt. They couldn't get rid of, basically, so they just had a room there with a wall of fucking dildos. That just cracked me up.
So here's some issues. First, when we discuss waste, right? Think of all those. Think of how many dildos make up a wall of dildos. Right? So there's so many dildos being thrown out.
The wall of dildos.
Next, they're almost all made as byproducts from the petrochemical industry. And also,
well, some of them might be made from virgin rubber from trees.
I very much doubt any of them are virgin. And the other problem is, why are we not building things out of the indestructible product that is dildo?
I think they make bomb shells from them.
I man, like, it's like, you can't, like, if I was going to be attacked by a man who had lots of big circular blades, I now know that I would best to cover myself in dildos, because I would be unstoppable.
A big dildo vest. Dildo man.
No, like
dildo man.
Like arm braces down your arms to protect yourself.
Dildo man and his famous wall of dildos. Some of the other stuff that I came across that I thought was interesting, other than the central heating shit, was the fact that there was a really good article in the Telegraph, right, where there was warnings on a lack of infrastructure for electric vehicles.
Can I just go back to one quick image? So where these blades are spinning, right? So these blades are all spinning, everything's getting crushed through, but the dildos don't go through. So there's these blades spinning, there's like dildos bouncing about all over the top of them.
Point.
Like, and
No,
somebody, like, they have to turn the blades off.
That's
like,
what happened with the first dildo, but after that, no more dildos were allowed anywhere near the rotors, presumably.
Like,
But if one ever accidentally got in there, it was like, yeah, it must have been like somebody chucking around one of those fucking crazy bouncy balls you had when you were
flying about all over the place. And then you have to turn it off and just like you have to lean in and get someone's used the dildo.
Just wait for the kinetic energy to run out on the fucking dildo. It's bouncing about for fucking 8 hours.
Takes your eye out. That's not what you want.
Slapped in the face by a big fucking black mamba.
Show up at the hospital with like a swollen eye, just like what happened? A dildo fired at a recycling machine up in the eye. They're just like, you're a liar. You're a dirty liar.
If I had £1 for every time I heard that fucking story.
Yeah, you fucking macerator blades and dildos. Yeah, I've heard that before. So
a good article in the Telegraph that said diesel and petrol car ban plan for 2040 unravels as 10 new power stations needed to cope with electric revolution. Plans to ban the sale of new diesel and petrol cars by 2040 in a bid to encourage people to buy electric vehicles are a tall order, in quotes, and will place unprecedented strain on the national grid, motoring experts have warned. Basically, Michael Gove, who was the Environment Secretary at the time, said, well, there's no alternative to embracing new technology. But what really cracked me up about this was when you looked into it, it was like the AA and car magazines and people who obviously have, and people who own fucking vehicle companies.
What car and Steve's combustion engine.
Jeremy Clarkson and fucking, yeah, all these, and Chris Evans and stuff, all going.
BP and Shell.
Yeah. Oh, no, you can't do that. Yeah, we totally can. Also, of interest, relating to that, was a Guardian article I found, in which it was being suggested that we should bring the date for the ban forward to 2030 in order to have a massive effect on, if you stop them being produced in 2030, then they're going to run, and maybe they've got a 20-year lifespan, so by 2050, they're not going to be running anymore, whereas if it's 2040, there's still going to be a lot of petrol and diesel engines in the UK by 2060. So the earlier we cut them off, the less gas emissions there are long term, and the sooner we can get rid of the infrastructure and stuff like that. This was based on a think tank and a paper by the Green Alliance, and it featured one of the fucking best graphs I've ever seen in my life, which is titled "Banning New Petrol and Diesel Car Sales by 2030 Could Nearly Half UK Oil Imports." So on the x-axis you've got it's in millions of tons of oil, and the I
can't even believe you're giving so much detail on what this graph says.
And the other one's just time from 2015 to 2035.
Time.
And basically, one of the lines shows imports under 2040 ban, and the other one shows it under 2030 ban. And basically, it's suggesting that if you change from having a ban until 2040 and to having a ban from 2030, instantly it converges massively and just fucking goes down straight away, as in like tomorrow. So from 2020, it just fucking fucks off the end of a cliff. Or if you keep it till 2040, it just keeps going up indefinitely. It is a nonsense graph that doesn't seem to make any sense. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, where's this information coming from? And it says Guardian Graphic, source Green Alliance. So it turns out that the source of this particular graph is a study by the Green Alliance, a paper by the Green Alliance called "How the UK Can Lead the Electric Vehicle Revolution."
So the Green Alliance story is referencing a graph created from data from a Green Alliance story.
So it's a Guardian article which basically exactly reproduces a graph which is in a Green Alliance paper.
Okay.
So I had a look at the Green Alliance paper. I found the same graph, exactly the same. with exactly the same Y and X axis. And there's a wee note that says, bringing forward the UK's 2040 fossil-fuelled vehicle sales ban to 2030 and continuing to improve fuel efficiency before that date would reduce UK oil imports by almost 50% by 2035. Estimated oil cost savings could be as high as 6.63 billion annually. And there's a wee 13 there. I was like, oh, what's note 13? I'll have a wee look to find out where this information has come from, but it doesn't seem to make any sense. And under 13 it then says Green Alliance. So the source of this Green Alliance graph is another Green Alliance paper called UK Trade in a Decarbonising World. Analysis based on the assumption that the average price of a barrel of oil will be $50. It's actually about 77 right now, so it's kind of out the window straight away. But I then had a look at the original paper, which it is sourcing for the graph, and it's called UK Trade in a Decarbonising World. And basically the premise of this paper is we can make a lot of money if we become world leaders in green energy and renewables and stuff like that, which I totally agree with.
Which I think is, the post-Brexit Britain needs something.
Yeah, but it's 20 pages of some information, quite a lot of infographics, and absolutely fucking nothing that relates in any way to that graph whatsoever. So it seems like they've kind of pulled it out their arse. Now, to make myself clear, I am massively in favour of green energy, massively in favour of renewables, and massively in favour of moving away from fossil fuels. But when you have pseudoscience like this in a national newspaper, and you have people who obviously, I presume, are very passionate about green issues and stuff, but trying to sort of promote their views by just fucking drawing a graph on a bit of paper, it totally undermines their argument. And if anybody has any sort of fucking look at this, they're quite quickly going to be able to pick it apart, and that doesn't allow you to move forward and change things.
I mean, that's the second time the Guardians came up in this show, where their article about saving the world, renewables, green energy, that type of stuff is easily picked apart if you actually look at the information. Like the Forbes article that I was talking about earlier on, that was discussing the usage of soy for cows.
Yeah,
that came from the Guardian as well.
It kind of reminds me the last roundup episode we were doing. We were looking at the whole the Waynes and Cages thing, and that bit of fake news of like the kid crying in the cage, and then when you looked at it, it turned out that it wasn't a Wayne that was in an immigration centre at all.
Whereas you could have just went to an immigration centre and took a picture of a crying kid, because it was already a thing. Yeah,
like I guarantee you that there is data out there which shows that this is the right thing to do, but that isn't it.
Well, the thing is, there's even data that we'll discuss relatively soon regarding the way that like recycling and that stuff works around the world, and that already shows that, you know, using green technology, using a green mindset, there's other countries that are becoming world leaders that we could have learned off of, and we should be learning off of right now.
Yeah,
it's the same basic principle as this. Like we can show right now that there's other countries right now in the world that are doing much better from a green energy point of view than us. I say us, UK as a whole. Scotland actually performs quite well for green energy in the grand scheme of its competitors in the kind of West European countries.
We're in the middle. We have the benefit of being an island, so we have a larger amount of coastline than any other country in Europe. We are, and all of that coastline is on kind of relatively open ocean, so we have huge potential to harness tidal power.
It's windy and wet here, is what we're getting at.
Yeah,
it's windy and wet. We have all the things. We have the trifecta of creating renewable energy is windy, wet, and sunny.
Yeah,
and we have an abundance of two of them.
Yeah, and there's places where you get a decent amount of sun.
I mean, the solar panels.
Like here for the past 5
solar
weeks.
Panels have become a massive. Have taken massive leaps in the last 10-15 years, where we've went from having to be in a sunny place to being able to generate energy when it's not dark. You know what I mean? Which is, and that's in a very small period of time that we've got to that stage.
And in this corner of the fucking universe that we inhabit, that sun, that is a fucking working nuclear reactor. If we can harness the energy being produced from that to, you know, a tenth of its potential, we can run fucking everything in the world, no fucking problem.
The Earth is a big fucking spinning ball, man. The energy that is being produced by that alone, if we could harness that.
The kinetic
I mean,
I was actually lying in bed thinking about that last night because I've been doing the research and stuff for this. I was like trying to come up with a way of harnessing that. I'm sure it can be done. A mind greater than mine will come up with a fucking way to achieve that, I'm sure. So
it seems to be like I mean, like, I don't want to get into it, but like, you already have the main component you need for a generator, as you have a big
spinny thing.
A big spinny thing that's perpetually spinning. If you could like line the equator with fucking magnets and then put a big metal circle around it, you would, for all intents and purposes, have a generator. I mean,
I'm a generator.
Like that, only an actual generator.
All right, okay.
But I don't know who you'd wire it to. It seems like I don't know what the voltage would come off the Earth, but it seems like it'd be high.
Yeah. Right.
Also, you could dig a big hole down, and then it's quite warm. You know what I mean? Like,
geothermal's a thing. Like,
I know, but I mean, you could really harness it again. Like, but it takes an investment, and the people.
You can just pump your water down and fucking up again, and it's heated by the Earth. But yeah,
I mean, it's all cost prohibitive at the present moment for a standard person. There's people out there who are doing it, and then there's people who are out there who are doing it for cheap. And that's then not because it's a cost prohibitive thing, it then becomes a time prohibitive thing. Like, if you've got 3 years to build fucking massive holes yourself and run all the pipes, you can do it and learn and teach yourself essentially hydraulic engineering.
But again, like, I feel like there needs to be legislative change in order, and you know,
or a revolution,
which is I guess what the Paris Accord was about. But the fact that, I mean, so the Kyoto Protocol in 1997 was the last big one, which was looking at environmental damage and trying to reduce emissions, etc. And the US excused itself from that under the Bush administration. They signed up to the Paris Accord under Obama, and I believe under Obama, I'm pretty sure, and then excused himself from it under Trump. So
Trump denies climate change, and Trump's.
But it seems that we have a little cycle here of the Democrats signing up for, yeah, we need to do something about this. There's a scientific consensus that the world is heating up and we need to prevent it happening. And then a Republican president comes in and says, nah, I'm not really interested in this. It doesn't exist.
Well, like I said, that's the problem. It's that it doesn't exist. So you have members of Trump's cabinet, but you have members of Trump's closest party, his representatives, his senators, who are saying they don't believe in it. They have the President of the United States saying you don't believe in it. You've got, in the nicest possible way, some die-hard Trump supporters who are out there who get interviewed on television who, well, other than Space ISIS, which is the best video on the internet, don't believe in it. So it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, other than China and India, essentially you get China, India and the US. If those three don't change their process, anything that we do won't matter on the earth. Do you know what I mean? We'll make a difference for us, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but in the grand scheme of things, it means that we can sleep well at night knowing that we made a difference and that we weren't the cause of it. But unless those three places that are producing all the fucking pollution, using all the oil, and have got lots of the people, make a difference. And I know there's other places in Africa that create problems for greenhouse gases and stuff like that for like lithium mines and whatnot, and all the other bits that go along with it.
But if you look at like that IEA report that I was looking at shows you how much energy production at all is actually occurring in Africa, and it's by far the smallest amount in the world. So really, the fact that Africa's underdeveloped is
working as a benefit for this scenario.
Yeah.
Not for the Africans,
no,
but just
not
for the world.
But it makes
that sounds terrible as well. Just for the planet.
Yeah, for the planet, yeah. Like if Africa was developed to the extent that, Europe is, or that the developing world, like
India.
Asia and stuff, we'd be proper fucked.
I mean, you could probably argue the same scenario with like Brazil as well. If Brazil was entirely at the same level as, say, the US or China, because of their population and the big cities, essentially, if all the people who were living in shanty huts all the way up the mountains were all producing the same amount of electricity and waste as well, we would have another problem. We're just kind of fortunate in terms of the planet that there's lots of places with lots of people but aren't producing the same electric and waste, as they aren't burning the same amount of fossil fuels.
So is there a possibility that we're deliberately trying to prevent places in the world from industrialising and developing fully in order to offset our fucking greed and capriciousness?
That kind of suggests, though, that these people are...
But like by keeping them consistently in debt and stuff like that, use of the World Bank and all the things, making them pay interest.
Perpetually, especially Africa, perpetual debt.
Yeah.
Stripping the resources.
Is it possible, potentially, that's something that's been done deliberately?
I think, and I don't mean these terms in absolutes, but I think it's the positive outcome of a situation that's much further deep rooted. I think it's just them being assholes.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just thought I would propose it anyway for a bit of crack.
1 in like 15 people that listen to us are just like, that's it. Fucking cracked it. It's a conspiracy theory. They're keeping Africa down because they're scared of the rubbish.
So I think that kind of brings us on to the last section, which we're going to discuss, which is plastics, right?
Aye, plastics. As I spoke about earlier on, fucking plastics come from the petrochemical industry.
They do, but they are only... So, of everything that's produced from oil and gas and coal that's taken out of the sea and the seams and whatever else, plastics only equates to like 5% of the total of that. The vast majority of that is burned for fuel. You've got stuff like asphalt and bitumen and whatever for road surfaces, and plastics are a relatively small section, although obviously used massively. All you need to do is glance around this room and there's fucking plastic everywhere. But according to Surfers Against Sewage, there's approximately 51 trillion microscopic pieces of plastic weighing 269,000 tons in the sea, which is the same as 1,345 adult blue whales, and it's 500 times the number of stars in our galaxy. Now, it did come from Surfers Against Sewage, so...
it's like 751 hands,
it's a total bummer, man.
It's like, there's like every grain in the sand times 1,000,000. Right? That's quality. Thanks for that.
So, I mean, essentially, we're all, I think, at this stage, fairly familiar with the scourge of plastic, particularly like the fucking stuff that's in the ocean and whatever. Like Blue Planet 2 massively drew massively drew attention to that, and it's kind of became something which has been relatively talked about in the past couple of years, right?
So quickly, for those who don't know, there is a big... You do all know. There's no way that I believe that you don't know. But there's a fucking island made of plastic.
The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, is that what we're talking about?
Yes. That's like the size of fucking Texas.
Yeah, it's a in the North Pacific, a gyre or slowly swirling whirlpool. That is a proper tongue twister, isn't it?
Slowly swirling whirlpool.
Yeah.
Slowly swirling whirlpool.
Of ocean currents collects plastic debris. It is estimated to be twice the size of France. Fuck me. And Charles Moore, the oceanographer who discovered it, has predicted that it will double in size in the next 10 years if we don't change our practice.
At what point does it then just become like a bridge?
It's not exactly a nice neat island that we can tidy away. It's more like a ginormous plastic soup of confetti-like fragments of plastic. It's been imagined that it would take 67 ships 1 year to clean up less than 1% of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
They're not doing it right. They're not doing that right. I reckon I could clean up more than 1% of it with 70 ships in a year. You know what I mean? Like 10% of it. Like, doing what? What they do?
Well, I've seen, there's a few videos, and we'll post some of these up, of like amazing inventions that people have come up with for stuff that'll just float around and collect.
I've seen the cool shit, like see the kind of mad floating basket thing that's like it's got like a Hessian bag in it for like, I mean, I don't know how else to summarise it, and it just like filters the water through and collects all the shite.
There's one as well that's like a big ring that just sits on the surface, and like anything that basically comes into it.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
and inside that is essentially like a Hessian bag, so the water filters through and it just kind of catches it all inside. Like, and in theory, that can be scaled up to infinite size.
The size of France.
Twice the size of France. Double France.
There was a good Telegraph piece that was out on World Earth Day that I came across. A couple of facts from it about plastic. There's 6.3 billion tons of plastic waste on Earth right now. And there's a good graph in here which sort of shows the sort of difference. So it shows you the billions, it's in billions of tons of plastic that have accumulated in the environment. So there's been 8.3 billion tons of plastic produced so far in like the history of the world, and 6.3 billion tons of it is waste now. So they've recycled 9% of that, they've incinerated 12% of it, and then there's just 79% of that that's accumulated, is what they call it. So it's either in landfills or it's in fucking the natural environment, i.e. in the fucking sea, or just fucking lying around places. It says plastic will outweigh fish by 2050, which is terrifying. I
was reading a statistic regarding the consumption of fish in general and how much plastic you're just taking into your body. They were talking like if you...
That's nothing. You should try eating one of the dildos.
I would, but my teeth are spinning blades.
I'll just send it bouncing all over the place.
Every time I stick a dildo in my mouth, it just fires across the room. That's my excuse.
You just caught me in the middle of a party trick. Just the way it bounced everywhere.
So I mean, it's essentially they were talking about if you have a relatively high consumption of fish in your diet, you're taking in thousands of pounds of plastic across a relatively short period of time in your life, like
which you can sell on, and then you're thousands of pounds richer. Oh no, wait, you meant weight.
Yeah,
not value.
Well, I mean, it probably is worth something, but you probably don't want to be pissing out plastic forever. So the problem is shellfish, they believe. So because it's essentially not just shellfish, but filter fish, but shellfish specifically because of the way they eat. They
only care about themselves.
They pull the shellfish. They pull the microbeads in. Microbeads are one of the biggest problems. Toothpaste and body scrubs. They pull them in. They sit inside them. You eat them. They sit inside you. You're not really designed to fucking get rid of them either. You've got like, let's say, sexy folds in your intestines, and the beads find them their way in there, and they just don't come out, and it's not particularly great for you.
I like shellfish, so maybe that's why I keep putting on weight.
Maybe the fact that you eat shellfish with butter.
Oh man, you need the butter.
And plastic.
Turns out, yeah. So, what can we do about the plastic? I found a wee handy list of 10 ways to produce reduce, not
Produce 10 ways to produce plastic. Number 1.
10 ways to reduce plastic pollution. Right. So
produce plastic pollution. Get a plastic bag, throw it in the window.
number 1 is wean yourself off disposable plastics. So grocery bags, which Scotland led the way on. In the UK, we got the 5p.
It was actually Wales.
Before us?
Wales done it before us. They managed to actually reduce their bag usage by about 90% across the whole of it. It started creeping back up. So the problem is...
you never hear about Wales, do you?
No, it's because they voted to leave the EU. Me and Wales don't see it anymore.
90% of the plastic items in our daily lives are used once and then chucked.
So there's one of the problems I've got is even though I'm all for not using plastic bags, it was an incentive driven by the Daily Mail. So I'm now using twice as many plastic bags as I was using before. I'm double bagging.
You need to sometimes. Like.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous not to. So that
you don't know where those groceries have been.
Exactly, they're gross. Right. I was clutching at straws there. So essentially, one of the problems.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things actually that's on this. Grocery bags, plastic wrap, disposable cutlery, straws,
clutching at straws. So in 2010 we used about 7.6 billion plastic bags in the UK. By 2011 we used 8 billion. So we're doing well at decreasing. Now,
was that after the?
It was round about the time, yeah, or thereabouts.
Tell me it's went down since it's been like, surely since the whole.
So there was a dip,
right?
But then it seems to be climbing again.
Okay, but when was it introduced UK wide?
Oh, see, I don't actually have a date because it was introduced in blocks. It was introduced in Wales, then Scotland.
Aye, but I mean, England's the most of
Northern
it. Like
Ireland.
you need to know when it was introduced in England to get the most of the people, right?
This actually, the article that I'm talking about here kind of focuses on the uptake by Wales, because it was the first. So, and it's actually, as you could probably imagine, it's a decent control, because there's a relatively small amount of people, and you can see. I'm doing something very similar. It actually wasn't that long ago in England, I believe. So Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland introduced them in Wales in 2011. So that was a year after Wales had brought it in. 2014 for Scotland and 2013 for Northern Ireland.
October 2015 in England.
Yeah, so yeah, it had 2011, 2014 and 2013 for, I don't know why they gave me it in that order, but Northern Ireland brought it in before Scotland. Scotland brought it in before England. Wales brought it in first. They reckon that plastic bag use in England for the year April 2016 to 2017. What year did you say it got brought in?
October 2015 in England.
They reckon that it fell by 83% between April 2016 and April 2017. They're saying here they reckon about 9 billion bags less were used. But for it seems to be climbing.
Are you
again.
looking at a BBC article?
I'm looking at a BBC article, yeah.
Yeah, okay, aye. So if the trend were to continue over the year, this would be a drop of 83%. Is that the one? Yeah, right, okay, cool. So, I mean, that's significant, right? So that's a little change making a difference.
But it seems to be declining.
Since then?
Yeah, back up. But just because people... Because it was a quick fix, but then people decided that they need bags.
So they're just paying the 5p now?
Just paying the 5p. Because the 5p seems like an impact in the grand scheme of things. And I know for some, don't get me wrong, I know for some at the bottom end of society... say that fucking terribly. I don't mean the bottom end of society, but the red people. But I don't know why I said it like that. But essentially, for some people, I know it's an impact. But in the grand scheme of things, if it's costing you an extra 20p for your shopping to have 4 bags, you're just going to spend that extra 20p. Now, interestingly,
do you know where the money goes?
Boris Johnson.
Wouldn't surprise me. So I just
Daily Mail.
Out of curiosity, I decided to have a look, right? Because I kind of assumed that
66 million donated to good causes.
Aye, but in the last financial year, large retailers in England sold 2.1 billion plastic bags, right? At 5 pence a pop. How much do you say? 66 million?
66 million donated to good causes. Seems to be a deficit there, quite a substantial amount of money.
Yeah. According to the government, there is a clear expectation, in quotation marks, the proceeds from the charge will go to good causes. It's up to the individual retailer to decide which cause to support. At the end of the last financial year, April 2017, the government asked the large retailers in England about their donations over the previous 12 months. Of the 261 that currently apply the 5p charge, 168 retailers responded. Yeah, 66 million was donated to good causes. That works out as 4p for every single use bag sold. So that's not awful.
No, but that means that there's 6.6 million that...
Okay, but I mean, maybe they have to still pay for like them to be produced and printed and stuff like that, right? They're saying 1p, it basically cost them 1p a bag to make. I know that probably seems like too much, but you know.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't, because it's already been budgeted for. They were producing 140 bags per household a year, and then now they're producing 25 bags per household per year, roughly.
Anyway, I think it's a good thing.
Well, see, it is a good thing, except it only makes up 3.2% of the waste that we produce in the UK.
I know.
Bigger plastic problems like cling film.
I know.
Cling film's used.
I know, but we still need to say it's a step in the right direction, right? You can't be negative about everything all the time. Yes, it's not going to solve the problem, but it's a step towards solving the problem, and we need lots of little steps in order to solve the problem.
Okay, I agree, but then the problem is
plastic
straws, right? So
have you not seen a lot more paper straws recently, though?
Yeah, but also drinking a pub that for over a year has been using cellulose straws that act exactly like plastic straws, but they're made from plant material and they're biodegradable. Like,
well, I'm sorry, you're a hipster fuck, Paul. I drink there too.
I know you do.
I know, but I wasn't sure that they knew that.
Lots of them didn't.
Most of them.
That'd have been right weird if they all knew that. But no, almost. I understand there is some medical scenarios, but most people don't need a fucking straw, right? They just don't. They maybe want a straw, but they don't need a straw. This comes back to the education thing again. It's like, and I've discussed this with you, body wash, right? See,
well, I was going to get onto this.
Okay.
Because there's 10 things. We've only done one. You're already away off talking about other ones.
Straws, right?
Number 2, stop buying water, which...
Aye, fucking fair play.
Yeah, totally agree.
Now, I do,
unless in extreme circumstances.
Well, not even just extreme circumstances.
Not only in extreme circumstances. Only if
water in London is fucking ganting.
I know,
but
there's better options than buying
water. I got like a Brita filter or whatever.
Yeah.
I get that, and like I lived in a high rise flat. I say a high rise flat. It wasn't that high rise or flatty. But yeah, so I had one when I was in a flat. It just wasn't particularly high rise. It was only a few floors up, but it was in the city centre, and the water was nasty. Like, it's really easy for us. Like I agree, people shouldn't buy water in plastic bottles. I do, but it's really easy for us to say people shouldn't buy water because we've got like the best water
Nice
in
water.
the world, or certainly up there with some of the best water in the world available to us on tap all the time. There isn't a fucking direction you can go in Scotland where you can't find one of the sources of water for like the rest of the world. Do you know what I mean? In plastic bottles, so it's really easy for us.
But you can buy something with a filter, and you can fill
reusable bottles and stuff like that. I use aluminium bottles, so I'm going to go pure. Like, there's lots of things that we're going to touch on in these things where I'm going to be quite wanky and hipster about. So I use aluminium bottles. I try and use ones that are free of various chemicals in the tops. In a perfect scenario, they are aluminium screw tops that are on them as well, because I try and limit the amount of contact my water has with plastics. Do you know what I mean? It means it can't leach in any way, shape or form, and there's no chemicals in there. So I use aluminium reusable bottles anyway. I have 2 lying next to my bed all the time, with water in them, not just lying next to my bed. to just keep my empty bottles
Full
there.
of cum.
That's
horrible.
Got to jizz in my bottle, give a minute.
So
Who am I talking to in that scenario? What the fuck's going on in that scenario? We'll address that later. That's fucking horrible.
Jason, I imagine.
Jason, hold this bottle, I'm going to jizz in it.
That's what I'm into. So number 3 is boycott microbeads. So I'm going to give you the floor, Paul, because actually in the course of researching this, you were telling me about soaps and stuff, and it's actually persuaded me to try this anyway. Something like to see. I have quite sensitive skin, guys, just so you know. Look, I do. I fucking get dry and fucking rashy and shit like that, so I can't use a lot of stuff, but I'm going to try what Paul's
soap.
Yeah. So tell me about your soap, Paul. Is it made for your own fat?
Yep. That's why I keep maintaining my body fat size, because my soap industry would doing the shit otherwise. No, so I take, like I said earlier on when I was talking about bamboo stuff and that in my bathroom, I take quite a lot of effort to try and remove not just microbeads, but essentially the plastic that I can from my environment. So you don't need shower gel. You just don't fucking need it. Just use soap. You don't need shower gel. Shower gel is a lazy bastard bottle full of fucking liquid soap. You use almost all. You use too much of it. You get drunk. You go for a shower. You pour hundreds of shampoo. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is a lot about me.
I don't have a lot of drunk showers, Paul.
Well, you're missing out. but you know what I mean. Like, you get up in the morning, you're sleepy, and you just pour a pilot on, and you just go through. Buy a bar of soap, buy paraffin-free soap that's vegan.
But what if soap dries you out because you get sensitive skin?
Not all soap does. You've not tried every soap.
I have.
You've not, you're a liar. That's it. I mean, that's it. Like, you get soaps designed for people with sensitive skin. You get soaps designed...
But isn't soap made from animal fat?
Only some soap's made from animal fat. The soap that I use is organic, vegan-friendly, paraffin-free, no chemicals in it. It smells like fucking lime and pineapple. The shit's amazing, man.
You're a hipster wanker.
I don't give a fuck, right? I don't give a fuck. I don't have a plastic bottle. I can happily be okay with the fact in the shower that I don't have another plastic bottle to go into the waste.
Well, okay. And by the way, after having that conversation with you, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that, because I think, as I've said a few times in this, we all need to just do little things to make a difference. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I could definitely do, which would make a difference. If we all did it, it would make a massive difference. So I'm going to try that one. But you have to just get me some of that soap next time you get some.
Well, I'm going to be ordering some.
But I thought, right, so I was like, so how much is this soap? Like a fucking tenner? But you said it's like, what, £1.30?
It's like £1.40. £1.30, £1.40. Depending on, like, so you can get ones that are like, so the one that I get is lime and pineapple, because that's very me. But you know, you get coconut and lavender and lots of other ones by the same company.
What's the other gay ones?
I loads of other, you know, like, I don't know if it's
I'm
gay.
not homophobic.
What makes that gay? Well, because they smell nice. It's your fucking problem.
That's just work. That's in no way homophobic. That's just working class nonsense. Like,
my toothpaste is made from coconut oil and charcoal and other. It's kind of like fucking salty paint, I wouldn't recommend it. But like salty paint is how I describe
Toothpaste.
it. Like,
Aye, I'm going to stick to my minty toothpaste, thanks.
I can get you can get minty ones as well. Like,
I'm going to stick to Colgate.
and
thanks.
it's in a glass jar, and it's got an aluminium lid, and I know that it's in a it's in a recyclable item that I know I can take the lid off it, and it will be recycled. It will be recycled in glass, and it will be recycled in aluminium. And
Well, we'll get on to that.
oh no, it will though. It will get recycled. Like, I mean, like, who recycles it or what their process is for recycling, but at least I get, like you said, there's the little things, so I can at least do the best that I can. Like, see a tube of toothpaste is completely serves no purpose to anyone. It's just convenience and nothing else. See a plastic toothbrush is, get a wooden toothbrush, a toothbrush made of, like, they were made of wood before they were made of plastic.
What if I use an electric toothbrush?
Don't.
But it brushes my teeth better.
Yeah, we'll fucking brush your teeth better without it. Like, what do you mean, what if? Like, it's like I said, it's the little bits. Like, you can brush your teeth with a wooden toothbrush. A wooden toothbrush.
But I could brush my teeth with my fucking hands, too.
Exactly. Do that then. No, you've got me. You're right. Just do that. That's even better than using wood. So fuck it. But what I'm saying is you can still use a toothbrush that's no made of plastic. Do you know what I mean? You can use toothpaste that's no in it. These things are really, really, really easy changes.
That's a good.
Brush your teeth with your hands.
No, it's not. That's a terrible idea. But what's a good idea? I'm not even kidding. Like, it's marketable.
You
as
maybe
fuck.
don't want to say it on the podcast. Unless somebody wants to do it for us and give us a cut.
Like an electric toothbrush made out of
wood?
Made out of plastic, yeah. It's made out of wood and stuff. Or sustainable,
like electric
heads. Sustainable replaceable heads, sustainable, everything's sustainable fucking
like a milled aluminium body. Most of the aluminium, so it means it's completely recyclable.
Yeah, whatever. But just that.
And then wooden heads that go in it.
Aye, whatever.
Do that.
Bamboo fibres and shit.
Aye. But that's the thing. So there is parts like, so you've got things like, see for a start, see if you want microbeads because it's abrasive to be able to fucking exfoliate.
And it only charges if the electricity is renewable. It knows.
I'm going to be right wanky, right? So see if you want to have something that exfoliates you with fucking microbeads in it, you can get ones that have got crushed up hazelnut shells.
Just eat loads of sand and then shit out the sand and then
I don't know if people are exfoliating their insides. Like, no,
but when you shit out the sand you can then rub your own shit in your own face.
Like a bar abrasive. No, but I've got exfoliating I've got an exfoliating face scrub that's made like almond butter and crushed,
I don't even know you at all, Paul.
And crushed hazelnuts.
I feel like
it's in a glass jar with an aluminium top. The sponges that I used are made from fucking fibres. I'm not even kidding. Made from fibres of a tree.
Why don't you just use sponges that are made from sponges?
Because then they're taken at the sea. You can't guarantee they're ethically taken at the sea properly.
Oh, fuck off.
Well, you asked the question. Like, because I can. I'm by no manner of means absolutely fucking rolling in cash, but I'm not poor enough that I can justify myself to not spend slightly more on soap and better fucking sourced shampoo and fucking toothpaste and fucking wooden toothbrushes because it means that I have cut that shit out of my life.
I like rubbing dead animal. I like knowing it was an actual living thing and just rubbing it. Oh yeah,
and that's fine.
Just rubbing it all over my chest
fine.
and that, and then moving down. Oh. Yeah, and then just rubbing it in my balls.
And that's fine, but each to their own.
Yeah, you're dead. You're dead now.
Like the next thing, so I use Cornerstone. They're one of our sponsors that we don't mention anymore. But I'm probably going to cancel my Cornerstone because the next thing that I'm going to do is get a old school cutthroat razor style razor, like not the blade one, but like a safety razor as they call it, the one with the screw bit, and then it's got like the old school razor blade, like the one that you get on like belt buckles and shit, the one that Dimebag wore around his neck on a chain, like that shape, you know what I mean, like the one you use for
I do know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm going to get one of them next, because again, it's an aluminium handle with an aluminium blade, and the whole thing is completely fucking recyclable. Like there's little things like that you can all do.
Yeah. Number 4 is cook more.
Aye, do that as well, man.
I do that anyway.
I fucking love cooking. And see if you don't know how to cook, follow my YouTube channel. I'll put the link at the bottom. But yeah, I feel like cook, man, fucking, like, it's incredibly fulfilling. I find it incredibly relaxing as well. Like, and it means you don't have to buy ready meal garbage from fucking shite that you don't know what it is that you're fucking putting in yourself.
Yeah, I like cooking. Number 5 is purchase items second hand. It says new toys and electronic gadgets especially come with all kinds of plastic packaging, from those frustrating hard to crack shells to twisty ties. Search the shelves of thrift stores, neighbourhood garage sales, or online postings for items that are just as good when previously used. You'll save yourself a few bucks too. Fucking.
So the thing is, I'm bad for this. I don't particularly buy from thrift stores. Like,
could you? Because we don't have. Where's a thrift store here?
A thrift store is essentially a charity shop.
Right. Okay.
Or the equivalent, like Mr. Ben's in Glasgow. Shout out for Mr. Ben's. Like, but you know, I mean, like, I just don't. I know other people do. Our friend JJ does upcycling with fucking furniture and stuff like that. You know,
but like for electronic stuff, I would just assume it was nicked. Especially having had all my stuff nicked recently.
Or shite. Do you know what I mean? Like you're saying electronic stuff, right? But we've just bought new microphones for the podcast. You weren't getting fucking Rode microphones out of fucking any store that wasn't brand new.
Okay, so that one's a bit of a dud. The next one is support a bag tax or ban. We've talked about that. The one after that's buy in bulk. Then
fucking, what's that? You've got 17,000 toilet rolls. Why? Oh, because it's saving the planet. It's deforestation. Fucking psychopath. Stop it.
One of them's put pressure on manufacturers.
Fucking just show up inside Toyota. It's like, use better products. Fuck off.
I think they mean acupuncture. I don't know. Anyway, the last one is recycle, right? Which seems pretty obvious to everybody. But turns out recycling might not mean exactly what you think it means. So we were looking into recycling in the UK in particular, and brought up quite a few articles about how there was a recent ban on China importing waste from other countries, in particular the UK.
So let me set a scene with a bit of information I found that can go on exactly where you're going to talk about here. So I am a waste manager expert in this scene, not in real life, Jerry, before you say anything.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
What do you know about dildos and rotor blades?
Oh, they just don't. You just kind of get it in. Anyway, and then no. So I pick up your recycling stuff in bin lorry 1 and your waste stuff in bin lorry 2. And I take the recycling stuff down to my plant. And the recycling stuff goes in the big recycling basket, and the waste stuff is going to go to a
waste basket.
It's going to go to either a landfill or an incinerator. So the first thing that, just so you know, and this is what I'm going to tell you before we look at where the recycling's went, is there is no incentive for me in the UK to, it costs roughly the same. It costs about £83 plus £20 gate fee for me to put stuff in a landfill. It costs about £100 for me to put stuff in the incinerator. So I'm just dumping that shit in the easiest place to me, because there is no incentive for me to do that. And now I've got the recycling stuff that's left. So I've either landfilled a pile of stuff, and that includes stuff that you would imagine can be recycled but can't be, because it's not, can be, but it's not cost effective. So stuff like polystyrene, coffee cups, lots of mixed materials. So the one that I was using when I was talking about razor blades there, razor blades are a big problem because they're metal and they're stuck into plastic. They, like, no one will recycle them because the effort to take the metal out the plastic just becomes completely non-cost effective. So that's the type of stuff that finds its way to either a landfill or an incinerator. So I've now got my recycling stuff, and I'm going to separate that out and I'm going to recycle it, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to manufacture new products.
Presumably, although not necessarily in the UK, because what's been happening in the UK, it turns out, is that we have been exporting most of our recycling. And largely that had been going to China up until recently. So China basically banned the import of many products, particularly plastics, in January 2018, and that very quickly led to large-scale accumulation in recycling plants in the UK. And if you look back to January, you can see that there was a number of articles about this. It took a bit more research to find some more recent articles to discover where it had actually went. But if we look at China very briefly, China and Hong Kong, which is obviously Chinese owned now, China's dominance in manufacturing means that for years it's been the world's largest importer of recyclable materials. In 2016, it imported 7.3 million tonnes of waste plastics from developed countries, including the UK, US and Japan. British companies alone have shipped more than 2.7 million tonnes of plastic waste to China and Hong Kong since 2012. 2/3 of the UK's total waste plastic exports, according to data from Greenpeace. The import ban, it sort of cracked down on plastics flooding into the country. The report calculates that since it began reporting in 1992, China has imported 106 million tonnes of plastic waste, making up 45.1% of all imports worldwide. Processed garbage from 43 countries on top of China itself. And China and Hong Kong have collectively taken in 72.4% of all plastic waste ever.
So, I presume then, because we know that the one thing people say about China is they never do anything dodgy.
Well, so
I presume that they were taking all this plastic. So they were taking my plastic from my recycling plant in this fictional scenario, and they melted that down and made it into some sweet new plastic.
I think there's evidence that certainly many reputable people did definitely do that. However, a number of high-profile cases, it was shown that they weren't disposing of waste properly. There was toxic waste being disposed of improperly. There was plastic being thrown into the sea. There's actually...
Sounds like a fucking starting episode of Captain Planet, doesn't it?
Yeah. He's a hero. Going to take pollution down to zero. By the way, are we going to talk about Captain Planet for a minute?
Aye, man. We can definitely always talk about Captain Planet.
What the fuck was the wee fucking heart guy all about, right? Fire, water, wind, earth. Brilliant fucking excellent things to have on your side, right? Fire, I'm going to burn the shite out of you. Wind, I'm going to blow you away.
I'd blow the shit out of you. Water, I'm going to wash the shit out of you.
Yeah. Earth, I'm going to make the earth swallow you up. I'm going to cause like a fucking wee earthquake or whatever. Heart, oh, love you. Like, it's fucking rubbish, right? And actually, do you remember what the superpower of the wee heart guy was?
You talk to animals.
So what fucking use is that, right? So like,
well, you could. Like,
you're in a big fight.
Lassie shows up, right? Lassie shows up and says, "What's that girl? What's that girl? Someone's stuck in the well." It's like, "No, it says she needs a shite."
You know, or say you actually are in a dangerous situation, right?
I can't believe you said to me, "Do you actually remember what his power is?" Of course, I fucking do.
So, say you're actually in a dangerous situation, and there's like a guy with a gun away to shoot you, and you see a panda in the bushes, and you're like, "Hey, panda!"
Panda's maybe a bad example.
"Hey, panda, this guy's away to shoot me." And the panda's like, shit, that's a nightmare, mate.
What if it was a honey badger though? You could just be like, you should start on him. Honey badgers want to start on every day. I mean, it means you would have to always bring a bag full of honey badgers everywhere you went, and that in itself is a power. You probably don't need to heart. Just throw a honey badger at a guy.
It's just a terrible. I mean, I think essentially, I imagine what happened was they had 4 rings but 5 continents, and they were trying to make it as ethnically diverse as possible. They had European, Russian woman who was
Wind.
Was she? Yeah, wind. Yeah, the Asian girl was water. You had the American guy who was fire, and you had the African guy who was earth. And they were like, "We need a South American dude, but we've only got 4 elements." Well, fucking love. We all need a bit of loving. So there you go. So
have you seen the episode of Captain Planet? Which
with
is
the IRA,
the IRA and the nuclear bomb?
Yeah, it's horrific.
It's fucking great.
It's also like the worst Irish accent I've heard.
And it's like they're all called like fucking Patrick McGraw, like other like
Jerry McCann and stuff.
No, like just that's some good episode. And also, do you remember that the baddie Captain Planet had 4 arms and was like a bug man and had like a pipe organ that stuck in his back? He wasn't
the main baddie.
No, the other it was Loot and Plunder.
Yeah, was because I remember him from the song.
But that's who Loot and Plunder. That's who Loot and Plunder was. That's who Loot and Plunder was.
He didn't have 4 arms.
He did.
What?
He was actually an alien guy who had 4 arms.
Off. I don't remember that.
And he wore a mask. He pretended to be human. And then remember there was the other guy who kind of looked a bit.
I remember a guy like that.
There was
Prince Charles.
And there was a guy who glowed in the dark. And his toy, you had him. It was like he looked like the thing.
Did
I looked like the thing. He wore like. We're like, this is fucking video. We're talking about saving the planet now.
I thought that was one of the Toxic Crusaders that I had.
No.
Toxic
Crusaders. Did you not have the Toxic Crusader that had the snot? He poured it in his back. He had the wheel for his leg.
I think I did. Yeah.
Because I had the Toxic Crusader. Had these like raft thing that had it's like a windsurfer, but it was like a land windsurfer. Your man with the nose, he had an airplane.
Oh yeah, I remember. Because he had the like buckles.
He was a pilot, and that was and he landed and he had the snot hanging in his nose. Well, Toxic Crusader and Captain America are both big on saving the planet. Why is there no kids' cartoons about saving the planet anymore? We had both of them.
Doesn't suit the capitalist agenda.
That's why there is it. That's why there's supply and demand man now. He's less of a he's much less of a hero, but he's always there with things that you want.
Bob the Builder, yeah, fucking build some shit. Shut
Bob the Builder, can we fix it? Bob the Builder. No, I should buy a new version. That's fucked, pal. And it's been built out of poor fucking second-rate materials. Back to China.
Since China banned the import of recyclables, we have now started.
First and foremost, we've 100% covered that essentially there was a pile of Chinese people fucking bottles in the ocean.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, yeah, I didn't fully cover that. So there's a really good documentary called Plastic China, which was one of the main things that was responsible for drawing attention to what was happening in China.
Also sounds like a song in the 80s, doesn't it? Plastic China definitely sounds like an 80s song.
Yeah, it does. I think that was Tapau's follow-up singing.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So yeah, they were doing all sorts of nefarious stuff. Not everybody, but enough people for it to be a problem. And there's pressure on our governments to, well, why are you sending all recycling over there? We are then putting pressure on them. Well, you need to recycle this properly.
You had like Chinese guys walking out to the ocean and they're like shaking their leg, like plastic bottles would fall at the bottom of their leg, and they'd walk back into the factory again.
There was pressure from the Chinese people that they weren't happy with what was going on and stuff too. So it all accumulated to Chinese government saying we're not importing waste from other countries anymore. So
that caused us a fucking massive problem, though.
Caused us a massive problem
because
we don't have the infrastructure to deal with the recycling of, in particular, our plastic.
We were also meeting sexy numbers. We were just like, I'm getting rid of 65% of our waste. And what we meant was we were giving someone else 65% of our waste.
Just outsourcing the problem. Like, the problem ended at our borders. Well, we've split all this stuff up now, and now we're going to give it to you guys, and we're going to pay for yous to take it off our hands and recycle it. Wink. So
some did.
Some didn't. But it's worse now because in the 4 months since the ban came into force, waste being exported to Malaysia more than trebled. Which makes it currently the main destination for British plastics. Exports to Vietnam have increased by 50%, and Thailand, they've increased 50-fold, so fucking massively increased.
To the power of 50?
Yeah. These 3 countries are all in the top 10 for quantity of plastic waste entering the ocean.
We're literally just sending a boat that says to Thailand, and when it gets to Thailand, they just open up the back and fuck off
into the sea.
Like, that's what's actually happening. We're laughing about it because it's tragic.
Right? So they're in the top 10. Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam are in the top 10. Vietnam's in 4th place. It's the highest one out of a lot. right? So, as in, of the places that we're giving most of our plastic waste to now. Poland is getting a substantial amount of it too, and there's been a lot of articles, if you go, well, not actually a lot, a couple articles, if you go and look, there's been, we've been sending all this plastic waste and recycling waste to Poland, and they have basically been oversubscribing, and they've been taking in waste from as many places as possible, getting paid for it, and then can't deal with it. So there's been some very high profile fires at Polish recycling plants where the fucking Polish mafia are just fucking running these places, taking as much shit as they can, and then having accidental fires, burning the fucking lot into flames.
The other thing is, right, so what we're getting towards, and what we have to accept is going to start happening is, people are just going to, so like, Poland buys our waste, and then Poland's got too much waste, so then Poland sells their waste to Germany, and Germany's like, we'll buy all your waste, and then Germany's got all the waste, and then Germany's like, we've got too much waste, so Germany then sells their waste, and eventually people are just passing around this fucking boat full of plastic to different places, and all they're doing is meeting their criteria, and then fucking dropping it somewhere that in the nicest possible way the fucking Western world don't give a shit about, and some fucking random poor African country is fucking going to end up getting fucking inundated with tons of fucking plastic forever because they're getting fucking paid $5 a ton, and they're going to take that, and that's what's going to happen. That's where we're heading towards at the present moment, because there is no incentive to recycle. There is an incentive to not have waste.
Yeah, but we are like, so what we do is we export a significant amount of our plastic waste because we don't have the recycling infrastructure, like you said, to process it domestically. But we have a system of recycling credits as well, which are known as packaging recovery notes. We basically pay exporters to take the rubbish away from us. So we are spending money to deal with this problem. We'd be far better, obviously, to spend the money on the infrastructure, and we could fucking mould it and stuff ourselves and use it. So there's all, now off the back of this, there's a lot of people calling for us to recycle it in the UK.
So there's a couple of things that we do at the moment. So because we have no incentive to be able to shift the stuff to an incinerator or a landfill because it all costs the same amount of money, we're paying slightly less money, but we're then giving that stuff over to Amsterdam or Holland, the Dutch in general, are taking it off our hands because they need the waste, because they are working towards a very similar model that Germany and more importantly Sweden, who I'm going to get to now, are operating in, which is they have such a high level. I mean, to give you an idea, any residential area, it needs to be no further away than 300 metres from a recycling plant. And they're operating at such a high level of recycling, they reckon about 99% of all product that's coming out of a household is being recycled in some way, shape or form, and everything that's not is getting burned off in an incinerator. The only problem is they are being so successful with that process now that they have this infrastructure that thrives in this recycling environment. They have incinerators that need to be ran to be profitable, or at least to not be negatively profitable. So
loss making.
Yeah, loss making. You know, like but not
negatively profitable. That's some good fucking corporate speak, right?
Tell you one day, like Labour Party, I could be in charge of Labour Party. And yeah, so
negatively profitable. He just said they were losing money.
No, but he said both profitable. He said profitable.
He said profitable. He looked happy when he
smiled. He smiled. But yeah, so what's now happening is Sweden are now taking in other people's rubbish because they need to. So they've became a bastion of hope in this recyclable world. You know what I mean? They've become this scenario where, and I'm going to coin that, so they better not steal it. That was me.
Can I just reiterate, in case anybody missed it, right? In case anybody's not aware.
What I said, bastion of hope in a recyclable world?
No, I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful phrase. We are all sorting our recycling out in our homes. Like, I'm sure most of you have recycling bins and stuff. You have to put your plastic and shit. That's getting taken away. And we all thought, I thought up until about fucking 3 days ago, that stuff went and got recycled. and used for something else within the country that I live in. Turns out, no. It gets put on a fucking boat and it gets sent to currently fucking the 3 biggest fucking importers of that stuff that we're sending away are Malaysia, Thailand and Vietnam, and they're in the top 10 countries for throwing plastic into the sea. So we are just fucking sorting plastic out for it to be thrown into the sea. Think of that.
And then the other side of it is we are then paying some cunt to take the rest of our rubbish to go and burn it to keep people in a job in their own country. like we are literally fucking ourselves over. We are paying money to, like, so people go mad about Brexit and how much money we pay towards Europe. We are paying European companies through our own choice to burn our rubbish because we don't want to burn our own rubbish and keep people in jobs.
Or recycle our own rubbish.
Or recycle, yeah, but I mean, like, just
but we don't. We have a dearth of manufacturing in the UK. We could, if we wanted to invest in infrastructure, we could recycle all of this stuff in this country. If we built the factories, the processing plants, the necessary infrastructure, we could make that happen. We could become the European capital of recycling.
Well, so this is the thing. So essentially what happened in Sweden was in 2000 they said you're not allowed to landfill anymore.
Right.
No landfills will exist in Sweden. You're not allowed to landfill. So
because see, I kind of struggle, right, with the concept of this, because to me the idea that you're burning something, I'm not necessarily suggesting that I'm correct in thinking this, but I instantly in my head make a connection that burning equals smoke equals bad for the environment, not good, releasing carbon, etc. Why is it not better to put it in a landfill, and although it might take 450 years to biodegrade, is that not better than burning it instantly into the atmosphere?
Well, no, I mean, not if you have a modern, efficient incinerator. There's lots of other ways that you can, yeah, I mean, so from an engineering standpoint, there's lots of ways you can utilise it. First and foremost, you're generating heat in an incinerator. So we were talking about energy and renewable energy. Now, the logic stands that if you are generating heat, you have the kind of core component of your coal generator, as in you have fiery, hot. You know what I mean?
I forgot about your engineering degree.
which is essentially your core component, though. Do you know what I mean? Like that's
yeah,
what,
fiery, hot. They're big on that.
That's what they call it in the rigs.
We tend to shy away from any kind of fiery, hot out there, to be honest. I don't know if you're familiar with the Piper Alpha. It was recently its 30th anniversary. That was fiery, hot.
Yeah, didn't go down well. Is that correct?
No. Well, I mean, it went down.
it went down well, efficiently. I don't know if we're allowed to joke.
No, we're probably not really.
Absolutely not. So anyway, my point being, so you, for a start, you now have energy there that you can utilise in various ways.
Yep.
So you can be heating water, you can be heating a steam generator, you're burning chemicals off. You're producing chemicals, but the chemicals you're producing can be utilised in other ways. I mean, like just because you're burning it doesn't necessarily mean it's all getting whacked out a chimney up into the atmosphere. Like, there is uses for some of these chemicals that you've got coming off.
They have to go somewhere.
Well, they do have to go somewhere.
The emissions go into the atmosphere regardless at some point.
At some point they will, but by the same grounds, the emissions will go into the atmosphere at some point. I mean, even if you're landfilling them, but it's always going somewhere.
If it takes 450 years for a nappy, for example, to biodegrade, then that's going to be a slow release of carbon over 450 years.
Well, you can re-burn off the carbon. The carbon's not actually the problem. There's other toxic chemicals that are more of a problem.
It is a problem.
No. What I mean is, like, there is technology is available to us if you want to utilise it, that you can burn off lots of the carbon that's coming out in exhaust. There's an inventor who I'm pretty certain is probably dead now, who's a Canadian, who pretty much done that thing, which is invented, as I explained to you earlier on, it's essentially like a big spark plug that reburns off more of the carbon that's coming out of the exhaust. The idea was for cars, but he had always claimed that providing you were willing to invest in the money, you could make it could be scaled indefinitely. Do you know what I mean? For
big enormous spark plug,
massive spark plug
run by electricity.
I mean, like it's slightly more complex than that, but it's the spark plug is the main component of what it is. He's done for the electricity that you're creating from the generator,
from fossil fuels,
from the generator that you're burning for in your own furnace. I mean, like, so you there is. What I'm saying is there's technology and capability there that, depending now, specifically the Sweden had put in, especially for this, they had put in energy efficient standard furnaces, new furnaces, brand new, clever. I know Dublin's just put one in as well. It's a big fancy looking motherfucker that they've just put in as well for that's
Paul Medee. They're doing one in Glasgow just now. I know a few guys who are working on it,
and they are producing chemical waste, right? But
the technology's improving.
Essentially the technology's improving, but the other problem we've got is we need to do something with this waste. Now, the problem you've got is, I hear what you're saying when you're saying if it takes 400 years, 4,000 years, doesn't actually matter as long as it's in the ground, because then you're dispersing
it's a slow release.
But at the same time,
there's obviously limited space.
Well, that's what I was just about to say, that if you take into account that the Earth is being populated at an exponential rate, and we're always producing, and like I said, like in a perfect scenario, we would all be using fucking bars of soap and fucking coconut oil toothpaste and fucking glass jars, but we're not. And we've got... In
my perfect world, that's not what we'd be doing.
We'll get fucking 15,000 litres of water getting used on every cow. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing a lot... But we're doing a lot of things that...
17 on chocolate.
On chocolate, exactly. And there's a lot of chocolate getting fucking produced. We're doing lots of things at the present moment that are having an impact on the Earth. And if we're able to utilise better technology to burn off a lot of the waste that we've got, I mean, remember, in the grand scheme of things, it's proportionately quite a small percentage of that waste, because most of it is recyclable. Like most waste that comes out your house is recyclable or utilisable.
But my concern is that recyclable doesn't necessarily mean it's being recycled. It turns out that recyclable means that it may well just be finding itself to fucking
but that's what's happening
less developed countries and theirs and being thrown in the fucking sea.
But that's what's happening in the UK, but that's not what's happening in Sweden.
No, it's not what's happening in Sweden. But unfortunately, Sweden is a country of only about 8 or 9 million people. But as we just saw by looking at the stats, the US and the UK and Japan and 43 other fucking countries and 70 odd fucking % of the world's plastic waste ever was sent to China, and there's not a huge amount of evidence that, I mean, we don't know what's happened to quite a lot of that stuff.
I'd take a fucking good bet I could guess what's happened to it, and it's just literally just, like I said, some Chinese guy's been walking up to the ocean and just fucking throwing it in every day. Like, I'm giggling about it because there's nothing else you can do. Well, that's tragic, but that...
I believe it's probably twice the size of fucking France and floating about in the Pacific, potentially.
Yeah, no, 100%, but the problem here is we have examples in the EU of what we could be doing, stuff that is ignored by the British press, stuff that's ignored. I know it comes up in the odd occasion, a little fucking top piece or whatever, a little like discussion on how good things could be and stuff like that, but the only reason that things aren't that way is because we are choosing not to invest in them. We are like, I read an article that showed that between 2010 and essentially 2011 and 2012, the number of people who didn't believe, who believed that environmental problems and impact to the environment was just being blown out of proportion went from 25% to 31%. I mean, that's so. There more people now think.
But if there's not, it's a positive for the government if there's not pressure being put on them to do something about this stuff, right?
Well, yeah, but no one wants to put that pressure on.
Well, no, I know, but I mean, as in, if you spread the idea, they've got a vested interest in spreading the idea that it's being blown out of proportion, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, I've got very particular and probably not very popular beliefs in the way that you deal with this. Like, I believe that you utilise the prison system for your recycling. Like, people are in prison. You've got people who are in prison, and there's a very fine line between using them as fucking slave labour and not, but you're still in prison and utilising that for recycling. I mean, see, you essentially have a workforce to do some of the recycling tasks that are there, and you have large facilities that are sitting just with people in them all the time. Now, the only problem is...
but you also have, like, unemployed people in the UK, so let's turn it around a little bit and go, well, if you create an industry there with decent fucking jobs that pay a living wage, then people will want to go and work there.
No, well. You
don't need to fucking use prisoners for it. I don't have a problem with prisoners working, but the fine line that you have to walk there and where you have to be careful is that if there is profit to be made by putting people in prison, then the government has a vested interest to come up with more reasons to put people in prison.
Sorry, what I mean is when you've got areas that become unprofitable. So the reason that you can't recycle things like coffee cups and maybe razor blades, a bad example because we're talking about prison, but essentially razor blades.
But sorry, I've cut you off again, but we should all really probably, I don't do this, but I should. And I could, because I have fucking coffee cups in the house, like, reusable ones. We should all probably be taking those cups to the coffee place and going, put the fucking coffee in there, please.
Yeah, but also the stuff that becomes unprofitable, the reason that it's unprofitable is because it's unprofitable for them to work through and separate all the stuff up. But it's then not. There is nothing then that's unprofitable when you have a workforce that doesn't cost you anything to do the work. Unprofitable is because it takes too long for the separation to happen. But you literally have, and that sounds fucking awful, but essentially you have a workforce there that can do that, which means there is nothing that is coming out of the UK, nothing that is going through the UK that can't be recycled. Or next to nothing. I mean, fucking use nappies, you know what I mean? There's nothing you can do with that. But all food scraps, pretty much anything that is deemed as, like I said, polystyrene and stuff like that.
Well, we all have food waste bins now anyway, but I get what you're saying, like razors and stuff like that, where you need to take the blade out of the plastic.
And that type of stuff that's like light bulbs. Light bulbs is another good example, because you have a metal that's stuck into the glass, like it's not recyclable for no. Actually, where we are, the glass...
Health and safety, though, would have a fucking field day with the idea of pulling fucking blades out of plastic or pulling fucking filaments out of broken glass.
Oh, no, I agree. But that doesn't change the fact that, like, we have the ability, like, the argument that they won't recycle certain things because it isn't cost effective is completely negated by that. If we can then build an industry around it where we are creating jobs for people to be employed, and the stuff that isn't cost effective is we are utilising our, like, don't get me wrong, I am very much against the way that America utilises, and I use that, the prison system to as a slave labour. That's not what I'm suggesting. But what I'm suggesting is, when we can't recycle stuff because it's not cost effective, we can, because cost effective becomes completely irrelevant when there is no cost.
When you have the most incarcerated population in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly.
But again, that would concern me that there's potentially more. I mean, we're already the most incarcerated population in Europe and the UK.
I know there's a fine line. I'm not recommending that we do it under a Tory government. But I'm just saying that, like I said, the articles that exist that say stuff can't be recycled, it's from a cost effective standpoint. There is ways that you could work around that. Essentially, the whole of the UK in the next 10 years could become completely, almost like Sweden, it could become 99% recyclable.
I mean, I'd probably be more in favour of people who are on the dole, essentially. I've always thought that there should be a pool of jobs for those people that are of a community service type. So you could tend to public gardens, you could pick litter off the streets, you could help to recycle, etc. There should be a pool of jobs which are there available to people who are unable to get other jobs. I think that it would be incumbent on the government to make sure that those people are being paid a living wage, not the minimum wage. But if people can't get jobs elsewhere and they're able-bodied, then they should be given one of those jobs which the government has a pool of, and they are things which benefit all of us. And if they don't want to do that, and there's not a physical or mental reason why they can't, depression or whatever else, then they don't get fucking paid their benefits. Now, maybe there's a very good reason why that's not a workable system, but I'd be interested to hear what that reason is.
I mean, I would say that what we're talking about here are, to me, seem like both facets of a greater plan. Like, I mean, like I said, there's stuff that they can't do from a cost scenario. There's jobs that people don't particularly want to do, but makes them a useful member of society. And there's air quotes going on all over here, but essentially, you know what I mean, like that type of person. And then there is jobs of lorry drivers and furnace workers, and jobs that you want to have either skilled or semi-skilled workers working in it, that you can be creating a new industry and new jobs for. And then fuck if it means that we then have to start importing from all over the world. It then means importers, boats, dock workers and all the other stuff that goes along with it, infrastructure.
Yeah, because they're bringing the waste here to be dealt with or whatever.
So there is the opportunity. Essentially, we become a big fucking garbage country, which, by the way, is going to happen in about 6 months' time anyway.
We already are.
But yeah, so like I don't believe. What I mean is we have to tackle this problem, like, and this is part of the education thing that I was going on about earlier on. For me, this is just another component. If you indoctrined everyone in the UK into understanding that was the way that things were now going to be, and we were going to recycle, the other stuff we were talking about regarding the plastics that they're using and the shit that they're going through and the way that they deal with their diet and the way they deal with their food and the food waste, all then becomes part and parcel of that. You change their entire attitude towards all these things. But
do you not think that like the attitude towards recycling is already changed dramatically in the space of like our generation compared to our parents' generation? And I can remember being at primary school and being like you remember we did topics for like months or whatever on recycling at that age, and that's obviously came through now to the extent that we've got like 5 bins to put our waste in here in this in our council area. But that's obviously been a public policy that's been pushed through by successive governments to get to this stage. It's a public information campaign on various levels that has led to a situation whereby the majority of people consider recycling as the norm and the right thing to do. And I believe that it is definitely the right thing to do, but it's taking a concerted effort to get to this stage. And I see, I've got young kids, as you do. I see them watching TV programmes, particularly on the BBC and stuff like that, where they're teaching the kids about recycling and the cartoons and stuff like that.
Fuck off, BBC, you creepy bastard.
Alright.
Alright.
But yeah, it's fucking, I think that has happened and is happening.
No, I think it is, but I mean, what you also have to remember is we're now getting into a fucking weird scenario where, like, do you know, this is going to sound a bit off topic, but from the stuff we were talking about earlier on, do you know Sainsbury's is now releasing a packet of touch-free chicken. So it's chicken already cut up that you can just open up the top and pour it straight into your food, so you don't have to touch it at all, because they've found that 20 or 30% of people who are buying chicken don't want to touch the meat at all, and they find it icky for them to cut it up, so they're releasing this. So that's also the world that we're living in. We now have an extra packet for our chicken because this chicken feels weird when I'm touching it, because that's not even a made up thing. Tragic, isn't it? It's so tragic. Jerry's pulled the cable out his headphones in dismay.
Honestly, man, I'm out. Like, that's depressed me.
Yeah, man. And genuinely, like, they done a survey, like, and they asked people, and they were just like, I don't like to touch chicken, I find it weird. Oh, fuck you. Right? And it's in a packet so you can just rip the corner off and pour it straight into like your stir fry without having to cut it. And it's like, I know you get cut up chicken already, but it's like cut up chicken, so it's in a pourable packet, so it just goes straight in.
I get it, I understand it. I don't understand it though.
No,
I understand the concept,
but so while we're talking about recycling, we're still
doing shit like that,
creating a scenario where, when asked by a supermarket, what do you think would be better for your chicken? Just like, as long as I don't need to touch the icky chicken that I'm going to eat, because it used to be an animal. Do you know what I mean? Stop eating meat then. If
it bothers you that much. I mean?
But that's the world that we're living in now. So yes, we can fucking try and recycle and try and teach people to use soap. But
we're so detached and removed from the actual process. I mean, like, so in terms of meat eating, killing the animal or hunting the animal or whatever, rearing the animal, we're detached from the aspect of like growing the vegetables. Like, it wouldn't have been that far past in the future that the majority of fucking people in a working class community would have had like vegetable gardens and allotments and stuff like that, you know, and would grow a percentage of what they fucking cooked and stuff. We're being so further and further removed from the actual fucking process of creating and manufacturing or growing in agriculture and farming, whatever. It's we're just detached from reality, man.
Deep. No, but you do. I mean, like, you get like vegetables that are like wrapped up in cellophane and shit like that, like individually, like,
or like all cut up already and stuff.
Already cut up, man. It's mental.
And it's like, look at the cost differential as well. You know, like, I can buy an entire cucumber, or I can buy slices of cucumber. This entire cucumber costs 45p. This sliced up half a cucumber is £1.20. Like, fucking buy the 45p cucumber and slice it up yourself, you fucking mongrel.
I got in an argument with someone on Facebook. I know it's a shock, because in a cooking, one of the cooking Facebook pages that I follow, they had a video and they were making something, burgers or something like that, but they opened up a can, I'm not even kidding, they opened up a can of breadcrumbs, right? So they opened up a can, and in that can was breadcrumbs, they poured it in, and I just posted, I was just like, what kind of fucking sick bastard uses a can of breadcrumbs? You're the what's wrong with the world? And then somebody was just like, oh, well, some of us just don't have the time to make how else are we going to get breadcrumbs? Just like, you're a fucking mutant. Sorry, what do you mean? Some of us, oh, I wish we all had the type of time to just make our own breadcrumbs. Like the just like the other thing is, and I'll show you loads of videos. Loads of videos show you how to make cakes, right? Different types of cakes, coloured cakes, you know, like rainbow cakes for Pride and that kind of stuff. And it's like, take one packet of vanilla cake mix, pour it in, add food colour. You're not making a cake. You don't make a cake. That's no make a cake. It'd be like, I'm going to make a lasagna, and then open up the fridge and take the lasagna, just putting it in the oven. You know what I mean? You're not making a lasagna. You're just reheating something.
How to make chicken soup? 1 can of chicken soup.
I'm making chicken Kiev from the freezer. Like, but that's exactly what it's like. Take cake mix, and I was just like using cake mix, and just like, but you know, sometimes you don't get time to make up your own cake mix, and sometimes these ones taste better. It's like, fuck you. No, they don't. They definitely don't taste better.
Definitely don't taste better if you're making half decent cake.
They definitely don't taste better, because that's why people make cakes for a living. Because if they tasted better at a packet, cake manufacturers would be doing the Swanee. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, this is why they're farming beef. Anyway,
what, cake manufacturers are farming beef?
just because it tastes nicer than not eating.
Not beef.
Yeah.
It just tastes.
No, I mean, like, actually, beef's not my favourite meat, but it's pretty good. And on that bombshell, I think we're ready to say goodnight.
I was ready to say goodnight about fucking 2 hours
ago.
Right,
couple of very, very brief announcements. We are playing Glasgow at the Admiral Bar on the 30th of July. I think it's 7 o'clock.
It's like fucking 19 days away or something.
I know. So come and see us there. We'll be giving a kind of a talk presentation about fake news and, you know, its many forms. And we are also very much looking forward to playing at the Byline Festival at the end of August down London Way.
Can't wait. Going to the Big Smoke, playing the festival.
Yeah. So weekend tickets are available for that, and it's got some really amazing guests.
Like really amazing guests.
And like bands and stuff. Pussy Riot are playing.
Badly Drawn
Boys
Boy.
playing.
Like,
Gary Lineker's doing the talk. Baroness
John
Wars is doing the
Cleese.
talk. John Cleese.
Us.
Yeah.
What are the big ones?
Nick Davis, Carol Cadwallader, Peter Jukes, like a whole plethora of people. Chris Wiley, the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower.
You'll be able to tell me we'll have like weird pink hair or some shit.
But yeah, lots of people, so you should definitely go down to that. And also, please leave us a review on iTunes. It costs nothing. It helps us massively. If you like us and you listen to us regularly, and you know can't afford to donate to Patreon or don't want to because you know fuck us, why
fuck that capitalist system?
you don't have to do that, but it would be awesome if you could leave us a iTunes review instead. It would mean a hell of a lot to us.
And if you do want to donate to us, go to PGMcast, because it does make a massive difference.
Patreon.com/PGMcast.
That's why we have these sexy sounding mics now.
And sexy sounding voices. I used to speak like this.
but we got my new
Patreon,
voice.
yeah.
We got my new voice. That was the first purchase. Jerry's new voice.
So yeah, thanks very much for listening. Sorry about the somewhat loose nature of the episode, but
it's fluid. Fluid.
Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
We brought news, fake news, relevant talking points,
statistics, the bombshell of the recycling industry in the UK.
I thought it was the bombshell of how you like beef, but it's not your favourite.
My favourite's Big Jason and recycled dildos.
Nice. Right, we're going to go. So, catch you later.
Peace out.